Yo, welcome back. This is the story of Izuku Midoriya like you've never seen before. The dude doesn't just inherit a quirk, he becomes a legendary ice-wielding vigilante. Forget crying over All Might's "you can't be a hero" speech, because this time, Deku is out here freezing villains, riding on oceans, and running with pirates. Yeah, you heard that right, pirates. Before we dive in, don't forget to smash those like and sub buttons and share this wild crossover adventure with your crew. Alright, let's go beyond plus ultra into a world where Deku's not just a hero. He's the son of Whitebeard and the coolest vigilante alive. Izumi POV. It has been 3 years now since Izuku run away. My parents even re-avelled that they had children to the public, so that the support in finding Izuku was greater, but nobody saw him or found him. After a year of searching, Izuku was declared dead. Nearly at the same time as Izuku disappeared, a new vigilante made his debut. He was called Kazan. He leaves his enemies completely frozen or with various cuts from a sword. He was looked for international since he was active in various and several countries. I just came back from training with Dad. We were training so that I could handle one for all when my time comes. I put on the TV and saw an interview with Whitebeard, and they were talking about Kazan. Izumi, Mom. Dad, look. My parents came into the living room. Whitebeard, Gurara. Interviewer. Sir, what do you think about the vigilante Kazan? Whitebeard. Well, sadly, I never had the chance to meet him, but I think he is doing a great job. He catch some really big fishes in the villain world. Interviewer. Are you looking for Kazan? Whitebeard. Of course, I have a little offer for him when I meet him. Interviewer. What offer? Whitebeard. Well, if he wants to join my crew, of course. My father put out the TV. He was annoyed, Kazan here, Kazan there. Tashinori. I can't believe him. That villain belongs in jail. Izumi. Daddy isn't a villain, he is a vigilante. Tashinori. He left his enemies half dead, not caring if they die. That makes him a villain in my eyes. Inko. Well, you forget that Edward nearly killed all of his first villains. Nana Shimura, Gran Torino, and Whitebeard were friends. Also, Inko is the daughter of Nana. Tashinori. But he didn't do it on purpose, that was because of his quirk. Inko. Whatever, come on, you two. I made katsudan, let's eat. We all went to the kitchen to eat dinner. Izuku POV. I was sitting in a bar in Long Beach near the Lunge Beach City Beach. I was enjoying a nice piece of cake and a nice cup of coffee. As I heard an explosion, I looked around and saw a villain with a shark quirk running towards the beach with a bag full of jewelry. No one POV. Shark villain. By morons. He screamed as he jumped towards the water, but instead of getting into the water, he landed face first on an ice floor. The villain was shocked as he heard Izuku. Era. The shark villain froze as he recognized the voice. Shark villain. KK. Kazan. The shark villain tried to get up, but was immediately frozen. Izuku only let open the mouth and nose so the villain could breath. Izuku walked back to the bar like nothing happened. The waitress and the other people who saw what he just did were scared. Izuku. Sorry about that. He put $5 on the table and emptied his cup and ate the last part of the cake. Izuku. Keep the rest. Izuku walked towards his bike and got on it, and then he drove towards the ocean. As the first wheel of his bike connected with the water began to freeze under it. And like that he drove on the water, he drove out on a little water street. The street began melting behind him pretty fast, and soon he was completely gone. The police came to the beach, followed by two certain heroes. Those heroes were Marco the Phoenix and Fire Fist Ace. As they saw the ice sculpture, the police was shocked, but Ace and Marco had a smile on their face. Marco. Hey Ace, go to the ship and tell them we found Kazan, and tell them I am chasing him. I will send my coordinates to you. Ace. We'll do after him before he is too far away. Marco transformed into his Phoenix form and flew out to ocean, while Ace ran back to the Moby Dick. Marco flew straight over the ocean looking for Kazan. As he saw an ice trail, he followed it with high speed. Then he saw him on the horizon. Kazan. Izuku POV. I was riding on my bike as I felt a presence following me. I looked behind me and saw a blue firebird following me. I knew who it was. As a vigilante, you need to know the heroes that will chase you, and the one following me was Marco, the Phoenix, a member of the Whitebeards. I sped up, but Marco was coming nearer and nearer until he was beside me. Marco. Always slow down, Kazan. Izuku. No, not interested in getting caught today, I said as I created an ice wall between us, and I drove off to another direction. But Marco just melted it in seconds and started to chase me. I saw a little island and drove towards it. I knew I couldn't escape him, so I had to fight that I landed on the island and leaned my bike on a tree as I heard Marco landing and transforming back. I turned around, one of my hands resting on my sword while the other one was in my pocket. No one POV. Marco, come on, make it easy for both of us. I don't send you two prison pops want to talk to you. Izuku adjusted his sunglasses. Izuku, I know why he wants to talk to me, and I'm not interested. I became a vigilante to fight crime how I like and not how those hero commission like it. Izuku sent an ice wave towards Marco. Marco jumped and transformed his arms into wings and flew towards Izuku. He kicked Izuku, and to his surprise the kick went trough him and his leg started to freeze. He transformed his leg and the ice melted immediately. Marco smirked. Marco, I see a Logia TYP fruit, huh? Izuku didn't reply and just charged at Marco, drawing his sword, sending a flying slash towards Marco. But Marco flew up in the air and came down on Izuku with an axe kick. Izuku, thinking the kick would go right trough him again, put up no block, only to be shocked as the kick hit his head hard and he smashed into the ground. Izuku, vu. What? Marco. Never heard of Haki Kazan? Marco again kicked at Izuku, but this time Izuku blocked it with his arms, only to be sent flying back. He got up and put up one of his hand, aiming towards Marco, as 4 ice spears appeared. The ice spears flew towards Marco, who simply dodged the spears, but Izuku charged at him in the same time. Izuku, ice cut! Izuku swung his sword, and a flying ice slash appeared, and it was about to hit Marco, who had no chance to dodge until Ace! Hiken! A fire fist flew towards the slash and stopped him before he could reach Marco. Ace Landi Bisaius Marco. Ace! He nearly got you, Marco. Marco, nothing I couldn't survive. Ace! So you are the famous Kazan. My name is Porgasti. Ace, what is yours? Izuku, Kazan. Ace! I meant your real name. Izuku didn't answer, and just looked at them. He knew he fucked up. He couldn't take on 2 of the top commanders of the Whitebeard crew. He calculated the situation in his head, and he came to a solution. If he makes a big attack, Ace and Marco melt his ice, and that would make fog, and then he could escape. Izuku brought his hand up. Izuku, ice block. Ace, stand back, Marco. Marco walked back a few steps, and Ace ignited himself in fire and made ready for a fire punch. Izuku, pheasant beak. A ice bird came flying out of Izuku's hand and flew towards Ace. Ace Kyukin. The attacks flew towards each other and collided, and an extreme wind pressure was created, and just like Izuku predicted, fog was created. Izuku shaded his sword and run towards his bike, but as he reached it, he felt someone putting a bis hand on his shoulder. He turned around and was met with the shock of his life. The hand belonged to the strongest man alive, Whitebeard. Izuku froze his hand and tried a roundhouse kick, but he was punched and sent flying across the island. Whitebeard, Gurura, I must say you're pretty strong. You could keep up with Marco, and Ace pretty impressive. Izuku got up, but every move hurt. That punch probably broke some bones. As he looked at Whitebeard, he saw several people approaching. Those people were the 14 commanders of the Whitebeard crew. Now Izuku had no chance to escape anymore, but he wouldn't go out without a fight. So he drew his sword, what catch the attention of Vista. Vista. Owen Nidai Kitetsu. Izuku covered his sword in ice. Izuku. Ice saber. Jozu. Oi, look, he wants to continue fighting. Izuku brought his sword up and pointed the tip at Whitebeard. Izuku. Ice thrust. A ice spear flew towards Whitebeard, but the ice spear was destroyed from Vista. Izuku. Ice barrage. Izuku fired his ice spears like a machine gun towards the Whitebeard crew. Whitebeard simply lifted his hand and punched the air, and cracks appeared in the air, and a tremor sphere was sent towards Izuku, as all his spears simply were destroyed like they were nothing. He was hit by the sphere and was sent flying back more. He coughed up blood as he got up. As he looked up, he saw the shocked faces of the Whitebeards. Even Whitebeard himself was surprised as he saw Izuku's face. Izuku looked down to see that he lost his hat and sunglasses. He slowly stood up and shaded his sword as he thought about the next attack. Jozu. What the he is just a child. Marco. Hoi kid, how old are you? Whitebeard in mind, why does he look like Nana? Izuku. 13-inch. Jozu. I can't believe it, the most wanted vigilante in the world is a 13-year-old boy. Izuku. Well, believe it, and the commanders looked at him. Izuku. Ice ball. Izuku sent a wave of ice towards Whitebeard, who was hit, and as the fog disappeared, Whitebeard was frozen inside an ice ball. But to Izuku's great surprise, the ice immediately began to crack, and Whitebeard was free. Whitebeard looked angry, and Izuku gulped, and in a blink of an eye, Whitebeard was in front of him and punched him into the ground. But Izuku wasn't done. He brought up his hand and pointed at Whitebeard. Izuku, I speed. Block partisan. Ice spears appeared and pointed at Whitebeard. He was ready to shoot them at Whitebeard, but Jozu and Vista destroyed the spears before he could fire them. Then Izuku had no other choice than to use one of his strongest attacks. Izuku, Ice Age. A wave of ice emitted from under him and encased everything in ice, even some commanders, but most of them simply encased their feet in haki and broke out as soon as they were frozen. Ace let out a wave of fire, and the whole ice melted. Izuku slowly got up from the ground, ready to be captured. He had no chance against them. As he was on his knees, he slowly looked up and saw Whitebeard standing before him. Whitebeard, I hate to see you die here, kid. Izuku gritted his teeth in anger, knowing he had no chance against him if he wants to kill him. Whitebeard, if you still want to fight, then take my name and roam the seas wild and free. The next thing that happened surprised Izuku. Whitebeard got on one knee and offered his hand to Whitebeard. Become my son. Izuku's eyes went wide. He looked around and saw every commander with a smile on their face. Izuku looked at the ground, wide eyes, and with a shocked expression, he thought for a few seconds before he lifted his hand and took Whitebeard's hand. Whitebeard laughed and lifted Izuku to his feet. Whitebeard turned around and Izuku stood beside him. The commanders smiled at them. Izuku looked at the commanders and then at Whitebeard, who smiled at his new son. Izuku couldn't help himself and smile himself as he tried to hold back tears. Maybe finally he could be part of a family. He looked at the commanders again and said, Izuku, I would like to introduce myself, but I think I can't do that right now. All the commanders looked at Izuku, confused. Even Whitebeard was confused. But before they could ask what he means, Izuku's eyes rolled back and he blacked out. Marco rushed to him and started to heal him. No one POV. It has been 3 years since Izuku joined the Whitebeard crew. As the news came out that the Vigilante Kazan joined Whitebeard, many were surprised, shocked, and some were angry. The ones that were angry were the number 2 and 1 hero of Japan. Why, you ask? Well, Endeavor was dumb enough to fight Kazan, and he lost, and All Might simply hated him because he nearly killed every villain he fought. Izuku didn't regret joining the Whitebeards. Only 2 months after joining them, he got his hero license and international license. Izuku trained a lot with Vista to improve his sword skills. He also trained with Marco to learn haki. He was pretty good in armament haki, decent in observation haki, and conqueror haki, but he trains on to master all of them. Izuku also prevented a murder on the 4th Division Commander Thatch. Some guy called Teach tried to get the devil fruit Thatch found. Izuku also found some devil fruits Oswell. He couldn't eat them, of course, so he asked some of the crew members if they wanted one, but many already ate one or had a strong quirk. So now Izuku had a little devil fruit collection. The Moby Dick was anchored in the harbor of Mizudafu, Japan. Normally, Izuku never would leave the ship when they anchored there, but today was different. The Moby Dick needed repairs, and that would take a few weeks until she would be fully suitable for sailing again. So instead of staying on the Moby Dick, he decided to walk through the streets with his iconic hat and sunglasses on and his sword strapped to his side, but he left his trench coat on the Moby Dick. Many people on the street recognized him, of course. Some even asked for autographs. Izuku just left a grocery store as he heard an explosion. He walked towards the noise and saw a huge crowd of people. He walked towards the crowd. As he reached it, he could hear the pro heroes. Kamui Woods. He has a hostage. Death Arms. My quirk isn't swayed for this. Kamui Woods. Fire is my only weakness. MT Lady. I can't go into such narrow streets. Backdraft. I can't do anything, I have my hands full. Izuku had enough of those heroes. They were just in for the fame, but as soon as it gets serious, they are like little children. He jumped and flew over the crowd and landed in front of the heroes. The crowd went silent, and so did the heroes and the villain. Izuku looked at the villain. The villain was a sludge, and as he looked who the hostage was, he needed all of his strength to not burst out because of laughter. The hostage was his all-so-mighty childhood bully Katsuki Bakugo. Izuku just sighed in disappointment as he vanished only to appear in front of the villain. He put his hand on the sludge villain and said, "Izuku, ice time." The entire sludge villian was frozen. Only Katsuki wasn't. Izuku coated his arm in hockey and broke through the ice. He gripped Katsuki by his arm and pulled him out with little effort. The entire crowd and heroes were stunned as he simply defeated the sludge villian so easily that he looked at Katsuki and asked. Also, Izuku is 180 in height. "Izuku, you alright?" "Katsuki, you now let go off me." Izuku let go, and Katsuki nearly fell over. At that moment, the heroes came over to congratulate Kazan. Izuku just nodded and said thank you, and then walked away. The crowd made place for him as he walked through. As he looked left, he saw his old family. Inko and Izumi looked surprised to see, while Toshinori looked with anger at Izuku. Izuku just smiled at them, and then he walked towards them, and as he walked past them, "Izuku, have a nice day, All Might." He said it loud enough for the three to hear, but silent enough for others not to hear. Toshinori's eyes went wide. He turned around to Izuku, but he was already gone. Izuku reached the Moby Dick, and he walked on the ship, and he was greeted by Jozu. "Jozu. Oi, Izuku, did you bought the beer I asked you for?" Izuku smiled at Jozu, and then pulled out 2 six-packs of beer out of his backpack. "Izuku, here you go." "Jozu. Thanks, Izuku." Izuku smiled and walked away. He walked towards his cabin as he heard Whitebeard scream, "Whitebeard! Kazan, come here, please." Izuku walked towards Whitebeard, and he saw his uncle Aizawa and the principal of UA standing in front of Whitebeard. "Izuku, what's up, Pops?" "Whitebeard, Kazan, those 2 gentlemen are from UA, and they have a question for you." "Izuku, when it is about joining UA, I decline. I am already a hero, so I don't need a school anymore." "Nizu, that is not what I wanted to ask." "Izuku, what then?" "Aizawa, we need a teacher for Quirkless fighting, and Newgate here said that we should ask you." "Izuku, me a teacher, sorry, but I can't imagine myself as that. Ask Jozu or Vista." "Nizu, those both declined already, so you are our last hope." "Izuku Yagi." "Izuku, Pops." "Whitebeard, yeah." "Izuku, who let us slip?" "Whitebeard Ace." "Izuku knew it." Aizawa walked over to Izuku and hugged him. Izuku hugged him back. "Aizawa, you made me worried, problem child." "Izuku, sorry, uncle." "Nizu, so what do you say, Mr. Newgate? Will you become a teacher? You still can continue your hero work." Izuku thought for a few seconds. He had a lot to consider. He didn't want to leave the crew, but then again, he could kick Izumi's, Katsuki, Katsumi's, Shoka, and Shoto's ass. "Izuku, very well, I take the job, but I want to train those brats like I want." "Nizu deal." "Whitebeard, God have mercy on those kids." "Izuku, now if you would excuse me, I have to kill a fire idiot." Izuku put his backpack on the ground, turned around, and started running towards Ace. Ace saw him and started to run for his life. "Izuku, Ace, if you get back here, you fire brain." "Ace, and H, I don't want to die." Everyone laughed as Izuku chased Ace across the ship until Ace jumped overboard onto his little boat. I forgot the name of the boat he used, and drove away as fast as he could as Izuku grabbed his bike and chased after him into the sunset. "Nizu, is that normal?" "Whitebeard, nah, normally Izuku gets him by now." At this moment, you could hear Ace scream, "Ace, I am sorry. Stop it. It hurts." "Whitebeard, Garp is a bad influence on Izuku." The other commanders, Nizu and Aizawa, agreed as Ace tried to escape Izuku's fist of justice. No one POV. We can see Izumi's gang walking towards their class. As they walked in, the teacher was already there, and he looked quite excited. Also, Aldera is a good school in this AU. "Teacher, please everyone sit down. I have exiting news for all of you." The entire class went to their seats and sat down. They never saw their homeroom teacher that excited. "Teacher, as you know, one day in the year, we are visited by pro heroes in the Great Hall. Normally, we have rather low-ranked heroes or mid-ranked heroes, but for today, we have 4 heroes visiting us, 1 mid-ranked and 3 very high-ranked." Now, the class was excited. Normally, the hero day in Aldera was uninteresting because the heroes that visited were pretty uninteresting, so they were extremely excited as they heard that 3 high-ranked heroes would visit. "Shoka, who are the 3 high-ranked heroes, sir?" "Teacher, that is a surprise, Todoroki. You guys have 1 hour to think about questions you want to ask the heroes." The class was talking to each other as they thought about questions for the heroes. Izumi and her gang was, of course, talking to each other. "Katsumi, who do you think will come?" "Izumi, I have no idea, but I hope it's someone from the top 10. "Katsuki, as if They have better things to do. As something like this, it's probably someone under the top 50. The talking went on as the class got more and more excited. Meanwhile, with Izuku was driving on his bike, driving towards Aldera. He wore his normal suit with his sword strapped to his side. He was studying to achieve his teaching license, and the principal of Aldera offered that when Izuku comes to Aldera for Hero Day, then the principal would bring some wheels in motion for him to achieve it much easier. Izuku, of course, took the offer, and that's how he was on his way to Aldera to listen and answer the questions of some kids. Izuku reached the school. He put his bike in a bike holder and walked into the school towards the principal office. As he reached the office, he knocked. As he heard it come in, Izuku opened the door and saw the principal and the shocked faces from the other heroes, one of which was his biological father, Toshinori Yagi. The other two heroes were Gang Orca and Machi. Izuku was surprised to see Machi. She was an underground hero, so she normally would stay away from the spotlight. Principal, Kazan, nice that you could make it. Izuku, I don't have better things to do right now. Principal, of course I heard the Moby Dick took quite some damage from your last fight against Shiki. Izuku, yes, Shiki is a pain in the ass, but Pops gave him the beating of his lifetime. Principal, I understand. Anyway, the students are on their way to the Great Hall. We will go there, and then I will introduce each one of you to the students. After that, the students will ask some questions about your work and how you handle being a hero and stuff like that. And after that, a story would be appreciated and, of course, autographs. The heroes nodded, and then the principal stood up from his seat and walked towards the door, gesturing the heroes to follow him. The heroes followed him. Machi and Gang Orca were talking while Kazan, Izuku, and All Might stood silent, with All Might throwing angry glances towards Izuku. As they reached the door that leads into the Great Hall, the principal gestured them to wait as he walked in. The principal was on a stage in front of his students. Principal, hello students, as you know, today is a special day as it is our Hero Day. The students cheered in excitement since they all knew that there were two high-ranked heroes under the visitors. Principal, okay, everyone calm down. The hall went silent, waiting for the principal to introduce the heroes. Principal, thank you anyway, now let's start. Principal, at first we have the number 100 ranked underground hero Machi. Some people cheered since only a few knew about Machi. Machi walked in and bowed to the students before sitting down on one of the 4 chairs. Principal, the next one is the number 10 ranked hero Gang Orca. All of the students cheered, some even stood up as Gang Orca walked and bowed, and then sat down beside Machi. The principal told the class to be silent, and the students slowly went silent. Principal, our next guest is our number 1 hero of Japan and number 60 worldwide, the symbol of peace, All Might. Now the entire room was filled with loud cheering and whistles as every student stood up as All Might walked throughout the door and said, All Might, I am here. All Might then sat down in the chair beside Gang Orca, and the principal had again to calm down the students with the help of the teachers. As the students came down, they realized that one hero was still missing, and they asked themselves who that could be. Principal, and now our last hero for today. He started as a vigilante nearly 5 years ago. 3 years ago, he was recruited by the Whitebeards, and since then he climbed up the ladder of the world rankings. The hall fell into silence. Some had an idea who it could be. Others were literally jumping in their chairs, since they were extremely excited to see a worldwide top hero that was higher than All Might. Principal, please greet the world's number 49 hero, Kazan. The students were stunned, but that was replaced quickly as the students went wild as they saw Kazan walking through the door. Again, the students had to be brought down, but it took longer as Izuku sat beside All Might. As the students came down, the questioning begun. The questions asked to the heroes were all answered, even so many of them were mostly towards All Might and Izuku. As it was time for the stories, Izuku told them the story of how he was recruited into the Whitebeards as one of the students raised his hand to ask a question. That hand belonged to a pink-skinned girl. Izuku, yes, the girl with the pink skin? Mina Ishido. How are the Whitebeards and Whitebeard himself? Izuku, they're like family to me. We laugh, eat, and drink together. I would give my life to protect them, and I know that they would do the same for me. As for Pops, he treats us like his children. He scolds us if we did something stupid. He cares for us if we have a hard time. He is like the father I never had, and I am happy to be a part of the family. After that, a table was brought up. The heroes took their chairs and sat down by the table as the students builded line before it to get autographs from their heroes, while the biggest lines were by Izuku. and all might a decent amount stood before Gang Orca, and a few before Machi. At the end of the autographs, Izuku's hand hurted because of the amount of cards he had to sign. In the end, the four heroes walked back up the stage as they said their goodbye to the students, and they walked off. As they were out of sight of the students, Izuku got out a notebook from his pocket and a pen. He then turned to Machi and Gang Orca. "Izuku, could you please sign this for me?" The two heroes were startled as just a higher-ranked hero asked for their autograph. Machi, of course. Both signed his notebook. Izuku then looked at All Might, but he just walked away. Gang Orca, "Why he doesn't like you?" Izuku, "Well, he still sees me as the vigilante I started, and what he hates the most is that I only needed 2 years to get so high in the world rankings while it nearly took him a decade. But well, that is the advantage of being in a hero crew." Both heroes nodded as the three of them walked out of the school towards their vehicles. Izuku drove into Mizudafu since he had to get a few things. As he parked his bike before a grocery store, he walked into it, and people of course recognized him as he walked out with his things. He saw his uncle, Sir Night Eye, and what looks like his intern student. He walked over to them. The 10-looking hero in training got big eyes as he saw Kazan walking towards them, while Night Eye kept his normal expression. Night Eye, "Hello, Kazan, what gives me the honor to meet you?" Izuku, "Well, could you sign this for me?" And Night Eye was taken aback as the famous Kazan asked for his autograph. Izuku got out his notebook and gave it to Night Eye, who signed it. Izuku put the notebook back into his pocket as the 10 boy held out a notebook. "Could you please sign this?" Izuku, "Of course, what is your name?" Mirio Togata, hero name Lemillion. Izuku, "Well, here you go, Lemillion." Mirio, "Thank you, sir." Izuku, "No need to call me sir, I am probably younger than you." Mirio and Night Eye shocked. "What?" Izuku, "Alright, I never made that public, I am only 16-inch. Night Eye wanted to say something as something ran into Izuku. Izuku looked down and saw a little girl with her hair, a little horn on her head, and a white dress, and she looked scared. Izuku knelt down to her level. "Izuku, hey, are you okay?" The girl just looked at Izuku and then jumped into his arms, hugging him. Help me." Izuku hugged her back as he stood up and patted the girl on the back. Night Eye saw the girl and got a serious expression. He again wanted to say something, but he was interrupted. You found my daughter, I am sorry, but she simply run off. Eri Kamo." Izuku, "Oh, Overhaul, how did you escape prison?" Overhaul, Kuzan. Izuku, "I see that you didn't learn your lesson." Izuku said that, and Overhaul tried to run, but Izuku, "Ice time capsule." Izuku sended ice after Overhaul, and it hit his leg. The ice creeped its way up his body until he was completely frozen, only letting his mouth and nose open so he could breathe. Izuku then brought his attention back to the little girl that was looking shocked as I defeated Overhaul that easy. Izuku, "Hey, what is your name?" he said in a sweet, caring voice. "Eri. Eri." Izuku saw the bandages on her arms. "Did he hurt you?" Eri just nodded as tears came out of her eyes. Izuku swiped them away. Izuku, Hey, it's okay. He can't hurt you anymore." Eri just hugged him, crying into his shoulder. Izuku turned towards Night Eye and his intern. "Izuku, could you please call the police? I will take that little snowball here to Pops." Night Eye, "Wait, you were taking her with you?" Izuku, "You just tell the cops I took her, they know where to find me. But now this snowball here needs a good place to stay." Izuku walked to his bike while Night Eye called the cops, telling them about Overhaul. Izuku drove on his bike, Eri in his arm, towards the Moby Dick. "Eri, Mr. Kazan, where are we going?" Izuku, "Just call me Izuku, Snowball, and we are going to a good place where no one can hurt you." Izuku parked before the Moby Dick as Eri looked in awe at the big ship. Izuku walked up the bridge. I don't know how those things are called where you walk over to get from the shore to the ship. In one arm, he carried Eri, who looked curious at the ship, and in the other the things he bought. As he entered the ship, he was greeted by Vista. "Vista, yo, Izuku, where did you get that child from?" Eri got scared, tried to hide in Izuku's trench coat as Izuku tried to calm her down. While the rest of the ship heard this, of course, and walked overlooking why Vista was screaming as they saw Izuku with Eri, they of course started to bombard him with questions. Izuku, "Hoy, silence, don't you see you are scaring her?" The crew went silent as Marco stepped forward. "Marco, what happened?" Izuku, "Well, I just walked out the grocery store as I saw Night Eye, and as in turn I walked over to them and talked with them as she run into me, and she was running away from Overhaul." Ace, "Overhaul, wasn't he a villain that you took down during your vigilante days?" Izuku, "Yeah, but I have no idea how the hell he escaped. I also have no idea what he did to her. You might need to look at her, Marco. Marco, no problem. Hey, Sweaty, can you tell us your name? Eri. Eri. Marco. That is a cute name. We are sorry for scaring you. You don't need to hide from us, we won't hurt you. Eri, sure? Marco, sure. Izuku put Eri down, but she stayed close to him, holding his hand as good as possible, since Izuku was much bigger than Eri. Ace. Come on, Snowball, I am sure Pops would love to meet you. Eri tilted her head to the side. Pops. Izuku. Yeah, he's gonna be your new papa. Eri, really? Izuku nodding. Really? They walked towards Whitebeard, who was drinking sake. He stopped as he saw his sons and daughters walking towards him. Whitebeard. Did something happen? Marco. No, Pops, we just wanted to introduce you to someone. Whitebeard lifted an eyebrow as Izuku introduced Eri to him. Izuku told him the whole story, and Whitebeard just sat there and took everything in, but internally he was cooking. Whitebeard. That BA, sees Eri. Brat can be happy I wasn't there. Everyone nodded as Eri looked up to the giant of a man. As Whitebeard looked at her, he smiled softly and leaned down a little bit and held his hand out. Whitebeard. Hey, Eri. Do you want to be my new daughter? Eri nodded and touched the tip of Whitebeard's finger. I mean, literally the tip of his little finger is probably the same size as Eri's head. Whitebeard laughed and welcomed the new family member, but she got scared since she isn't used so many people. Then Whitey Bay walked over and knelt down before Eri, who was hiding behind Izuku. Whitey Bay. Come here, Sweaty, let's get you in some nice clothes. Eri nodded and took Whitey Bay's hand, and both of them walked inside the ship. Ace. I think she doesn't like us. Izuku. Idiot, you just scare her, you crowded her. When she comes back, you're going to introduce yourselves in an ordinary way. Every commander and crew member nodded and thought about a way to introduce themselves to Eri without scaring her. Izuku just stood up. He looked at the time. He had 3 hours before the exam with his bike. He needed an hour from the port to the school. He took a shower, brushed his teeth, and put on his suit and sword. He then walked to the ship kitchen. Izuku. Thatch, do you have something to eat for me? Thatch. Izuku, if you wanted something to eat, why didn't you came for breakfast? Izuku. Drunk too much yesterday. Thatch. You should stop trying to beat Jozu and Pops in a drinking competition. Every time you try, they drink you under the table. Izuku. I know now. Can I have something to eat? Thatch. Take an apple. Izuku grounded, took an apple, and walked out the kitchen, but without Thatch noticing it, he quickly grabbed a fresh croissant, but sadly for him, Thatch did saw it, and threw a hockey-infused rolling pin after him, what Izuku dodged by running out of the kitchen as fast as he could. He walked out, eating his croissant, and walked towards his bike ass. Eri. Izuku. Eri came running at him, followed by Marco. Izuku. Hey, Eri, what is it? Eri. Where are you going? It has been 9 months since Eri was adopted into the crew, and everybody loved her, and the crew got very protective of her. Other than Izuku, every time Eri came into the kitchen, she got anything she wanted from Thatch if she asked. She also started training her quirk with Marco. Since Marco could withstand it if her quirk got out of control, by now she had enough control over it to at least heal little wounds. Izuku. I'm going to UA, since I'm going to teach there today, is the entrance exam. Eri, can I go with you? Izuku. I don't know, Eri asked Pops. Eri, will do. With that, Eri run towards Whitebeard's seat. Marco. I watched the entrance exam of UA. Once you should be ready to step in if necessary. Izuku, why? Marco. Nizu likes to exaggerate. Izuku. I will keep that in mind. Eri came back. Eri. He said yes. Izuku. Okay, then hop on. Marco. Watch out, you too. Izuku and Eri. Will do. Time skip to when they reach UA. Izuku walked towards the monitor room, Eri on his shoulders. Izuku knocked on the door of the monitor room as he heard a faint come in. Izuku opened the door to see his many people of his past that he didn't want to see. Of course, they didn't recognize him with his hat and sunglasses. The only one they saw was Kazan with a little girl on his shoulders. Endeavor and All Might turned from surprised to pissed. Nizu. Kazan, nice that you could make it. Izuku. Of course, how far are they? Nizu. We just started the written exam. Who is that little girl on your shoulders? Izuku. Oh, this is Eri. She is the newest member of us. Inko. Is she the girl that you rescued from Overhaul? Izuku. Yes, please don't mention him. Inko, of course. All Might. Why is she here with you? Izuku. She asked Pops if she could go with me, and he said yes. Izuku sat Eri beside Nizu, who smiled at her, and Eri smiled back. Izuku sat down beside Eri. The camera showed the students making the written exam as Izuku saw something by a certain student. Izuku. That purple grape just cheated. Nizu. I saw it too. Nizu spoke per intercom to say that Minoru Mineta was caught cheating. The great boy run out of the exam room, crying blood. Snipe, you have a good eye, Kazan. Izuku, when I was a vigilante, I gained some skills since I was hunted by heroes and villains alike, and I never lost it. Eri, what is a vigilante? Izuku explained to Eri what a vigilante was as the time came for the battle portion of the exam. The exam started, and of course his sister and the Bakugas were at the very top. Nizu, you know, All Might, I was surprised to hear that your daughter didn't took the recommendation. All Might, my daughter wanted to earn her place here, instead of taking the easy way, as she said. Izuku continued to look at the exams and saw a purple-haired boy with a capture gear similar to Aizawa fighting the robots. Izuku, Eraserhead, I didn't know you had a protege, Oswell. Aizawa, what do you mean I don't have one? Izuku, really, because that purple-haired kid there looks like a mini version of you. Nizu put up the boy for everyone to see and then got the file of the boy. Nizu, name, Hitoshi Shinso, quirk, brainwash, weapons, capture scarf, and he aims to be an underground hero. Aizawa took the file from Nizu's hand and started to read it as Izuku said. Izuku, his quirk isn't really able in combat, that's why he needs to use other methods to gain points. That boy looks like a hard worker. Nizu, he most certainly is. It looks like he mastered how to use the capture scarf, but from who? Machi, he probably learned it from the few videos that exist of Yushoda. Aizawa, nah, it looks like he learned it by himself, Rab. I want him in my class. All the staff was shocked to hear Aizawa wanting a student. Midnight, did I just heard right? Shota wants a student? Snipe, I thought I never would be alive to see this day. Endeavor, I can't believe that you considered to put someone with a villainous quirk into a hero class. Such a disgrace. Aizawa and Machi looked angry and wanted to say something, but they were cut off by Izuku. Izuku, why that? After all, they accepted a guy with a villainous attitude into the school and put him into a hero costume. Endeavor, what did you say? Izuku, you heard me, walking trash can, he said calmly. Niza held Eri's ears so she doesn't learn bad words. Meanwhile, Aizawa and Machi were rolling on the ground laughing hard. Endeavor flamed up more, making a step towards Izuku. Izuku just stood up and looked at Endeavor as ice began to cover some spots on his face, and soon a deadly standoff began between the two pro heroes, much to the fear of everyone in the room. All Might wanted to go between, but he was stopped by Snipe. The stare-off continued for a few seconds, but then Endeavor pulled away, leaving Izuku victorious. Snipe whispering to All Might and Inko, he probably just remembered that Kazan kicked his ass twice. Yeah, the great Endeavor was defeated 2 times by Kazan. One time as Izuku was still a vigilante, and the second time as Endeavor was dumb enough to come to the Moby Dick and demand the outhanding of Kazan. Izuku simply threw him overboard after a little fight without quirks, since nobody wanted to piss of Whitebeard by destroying a part of the ship. Nizu, now that this is over, I think it's time for the 0-pointer. Nizu pressed a red button. Izumi POV. I just destroyed a 3-pointer as the entire area began to rumble and the other exam attendees started to run away from a certain area. Izumi, what is going on? Random guy, the 0-pointer. I looked in the direction and saw a massive robot destroying a building as it came around the corner. That thing wasn't worth it. I turned around to run away as I heard a help me behind me. I looked back and saw the pink-skinned girl from my school being stuck under some rubble. I didn't know what I was doing as I rummed towards the girl. Mina, what are you doing? Izumi, helping you, of course. I tried lifting the rubble with my telekinesis, but I already used it too much, so I tried it with one for all as I heard a sound above me. I looked up and saw the 0-pointer throwing a punch at us. Izumi mine, no, that can't be the end. I closed my eyes ready for the impact. But then, Kazan, Ice Age. I opened my eyes as I saw that the entire 0-pointer was frozen. I turned around looking for the on, who did that as I saw the person in question walking towards us. Izumi and Mina. Kazan! Kazan, Izuku. Joe, are you two okay? Izumi. Me, yes, but she is stuck under that rock, and I can't get it up. Kazan. I see. Kazan kneeled down and lifted the rock with little effort up a little bit. Kazan. As I thought a piece of rebar has pierced through your leg. Mina, what? But how can I feel it? Kazan. Adrenaline, probably. Kazan started to freeze the piece of the rebar that was connected to the stone and destroyed it like it was made out of glass. And then he lifted the entire rock and threw it away. Kazan. Mina Ishido, if I remember right. Mina. Yes, sir. Kazan. I will have to carry you to the medics. Mina, no problem. Kazan kneeled down and lifted Mina carefully in bridal style up. Kazan, are you okay? Or do you need help too? Izumi, oh no, I am fine. Kazan, oh. Kazan walked away towards Recovery Girl. No one POV. Izuku was walking back to the monitor room after he brought Mina to Recovery Girl. As he entered, all eyes were on him, minus Endeavor. Eri, Izuku, that was great. For certain people perked up by the name Izuku. Eri, what did I say about saying my name in public? Eri, when we are in public, your name isn't Izuku anymore. Izuku. Exactly. Inko Izuku. Izuku. That is my real name, yes. Inko wanted to say something, but was interrupted by her husband. All Might. Sorry, the name just reminds us of our missing son. Izuku. Oh, I am sorry if I brought up bad memories. All Might. It's okay, come on, Inko. Let's check on Izumi. All Might and Inko walked out of the room as Izuku lifted up Eri and put her on his shoulders again. Izuku. If that was everything, then I will take my leave if that's okay. Nizu. That is okay. Also, you will teach class 1A and B. Izuku. Okay with me. Endeavor. He's going to do what? Machi. Hoi, Kazan didn't know you were the teacher type. Aizawa. He's going to teach quirkless fighting. Izuku. Well, it does give times where you can't rely on your quirk, so you need to be able to fight without it. That is why I wear a sword. You a kunai and eraser over there has his capture gear. With those words, Izuku and Eri left the room and walked towards Izuku's bike. He got on the bike, Eri still on his shoulders, as they drove off towards the Moby Dick. Eri, can we get candy apple? Izuku. Of course, Snowflake. No one POV. Today was the first day Izuku would teach class 1A. The school year started 2 days ago, and the class already had a quirk test and a heroic class, and one of the students was already taken to the hospital because of Katsuki's exploding ego. Anyway, class 1A was talking about their next class. Tsuyu. Who do you think will teach quirkless fighting Karo? Izumi. Probably someone with a mind quirk, or someone with a quirk like Mr. Aizawa. Katsuki. Why the hell do we need to learn something useless like this? Shoto. Useless. If I remember correctly, then Shinso beat you yesterday fighting quirkless. Katsumi. True that Shinso guy kicked your ass yesterday, before you had to go overboard and nearly kill him. Katsuki. He is just an extra that stands in my way to become the next #1. The door opened, but nobody noticed. Kirishima. Dude, but you tried to kill him just because he beat you in a training fight. Ida. Yeah, that wasn't a real fight. It was a fight to learn from. Katsuki. If you don't take fights like that serious, then you don't deserve to be a hero. To be honest with you, Bakugo, if it wasn't because of All Might, Aizawa would have expelled you right on the spot. So choose your next words wisely. Katsuki. Who said that? Katsuki turned towards the voice only to see the person that saved him 10 months ago. Katsuki. Kazan. The rest of the class was shocked and then got extremely excited. Kirishima. Wow, Kazan is our fighting teacher. Kaminari. I can't believe that one of the top 50 of the world is teaching us. Tsuyu. I don't like ice, but he is cool. Izumi. K. Mina. Mr. Kazan, sir. Izuku. Oh, you are Pinky from the entrance exam. What was your name again? Mina. Mina Ishido. I wanted to thank you again for saving me during the entrance exam. Izuku. No problem, that is what heroes do after all. Izuku. Now please everyone sit down so I can begin class. Everyone went to their seat, sat down. Izuku. Okay, now let's start. You can call me Kazan or Newgate Sensei, what you prefer. I will be your teacher for quirkless fighting. Izuku paused and then continued. Izuku. There will be no quirk usage during my class, everyone understand? A guy with a tail lifted his arm to ask a question. Izuku. Yeah, you with the tail? Ojiro. Mashireo Ojiro. I just wanted to ask about if those with mutation-type quirks are allowed to use them, since it's part of our body. Izuku. Mutation quirks are allowed to a certain point. Like you are allowed to use your tail, and you pointing at Shoji are allowed to use your extra limbs. Kaminari. But that is unfair, that guy is extremely strong with his extra arms. Izuku. I know, but it is a part of his body. So considering that he is quirkless from a technical point of view. Izuku paused and waited for his words to sink in. Izuku. Okay, now everyone please put on your gym suit and meet me near the training field. Izuku walked out and the class hurried into the changing rooms. Boy changing room. Kirishima. I can't believe that Kazan is our teacher. Ojiro. Yeah, me too. I saw some videos from some of his fights, and I must say, he is an amazing fighter with quirk or without it. Ida. I can still remember the time as he was a vigilante and fought my brother. My brother couldn't even land a hit on him. Tokoyami. Even Endeavor fire attacks couldn't do anything to him, even so he has an ice quirk. Kaminari. I heard that he even can freeze fire. Zero. That is impossible. Katsuki. Oh, shouldn't he just have luck against Endeavor? Shoto. Sorry to disappoint you, but even I know that Kazan won the fight against my father pretty easy. What is to be expected from one of the top 50 world heroes? Ida. True, he probably even could defeat All Might in a matter of minutes. Outside, we can see Izuku standing outside waiting for his class. He was looking at his phone as he heard some people approaching him. Izuku. It took you a while to get here, he said, and turned around to see his students. Izuku. Everyone here? Ida. Everyone minus Shinso, sir. Izuku. Yeah, he probably will be joining us next week. Now, come on, we're going to the gym. The class followed him as Izuku had a clipboard in his hand. They entered the gym, and everyone looked in awe at all the training equipment. Izuku. Today we're going to test the limits of your body. Kaminari, what? Izuku. I want to see what you are capable of right now, so I can make a plan of how to train you the most efficient way. Izumi. How are you planning to train us? Izuku. Let's just say by the end of this year, Izuku lifts a 500 kilograms weight with one hand, and without hockey. The class looked shocked. Izuku. I want all of you to be able to lift this with one hand. Kaminari. That is impossible. Izuku. Oh, believe me, Pops could lift that with his little finger, and without any effort. Zero. Pops. Izuku. Whitebeard. Zero. Oh. Izuku. Anyway, let's start first treadmill. Time skip. Class 1, it was doing treadmill running, weightlifting, sit-ups, push-ups, and even some yoga by the end of the training session. Everyone was done for it. Even the strongest in class were extremely exhausted. Some of the class even passed out. Izuku. You did bad to say the least. Katsuki, what? Izuku. No worries, that is why I am here. We will train your bodies and fighting skills to the limit, so that as soon as you leave this school you are ready for this world, and now go beyond plus ultra. Class 1A nearly passing out. Plus ultra. Class 1A walked out of the gym, half dead. One of the last to leave was Izumi, but Izuku stopped her. Izumi. Kazan-sensei. Izuku. I saw your performance in the entrance exam, and by the quirk assessment test 2 days ago, and of course your fight yesterday. Izumi and Izuku. You need to train more. Your body is not even coming close to handle the whole power of your second quirk. Izumi nodded and looked at her hand. She broke it by the quirk test. Izuku. If you want my suggestion, try to focus your power for now on a short part of your body, like the fingers, as long as you don't know how to use it properly. Izumi. Okay, sensei, I will try. Izuku. Here, take. Izumi. Is that a Izuku? A hand grip with 6 springs. You can take some springs off to make it easier, but try to train with all 6 feathers. Izumi. Thank you, sensei. I will do my best. She bowed and then left the gym. Izuku could see how she tried to squeeze it, but failed miserably. Izuku. That is going to be fun. Class 1, it was leaving UA since it was the end of the day. Some were just dragging their feet after them. Kirishima. Man, Kazan training is hard. Ojiro. Only wait until we start the fighting lessons. Mina. I don't want to imagine that. Aizawa saw the class leaving UA half dead from exhaustion. Aizawa. I think you went a little bit overboard on them. Izuku. Now they will get used to it after around 2 months, and then it will get hard. Aizawa. I don't want to know what easy and what hard is in your eyes, Izuku. No one POV. We can see Izuku with Class 1B. Everyone was training how to fight without quirk. The best of the class were Kendo and Tetsu. The only one that didn't train how to fight was Monoma. He had to do push-ups as punishment. You ask what he did? Well, Izuku hates people that talk shit, and Monoma was talking a lot of shit, so he was punished to do 1.000 push-ups. Izuku. Come on, Monoma. You only have 87 right now. Monoma. You are counting. Izuku. Of course, now continue. Monoma grunted as he continued doing push-ups. Izuku looked around the class and saw Kendo Judo flipping Tetsu. Then out of the corner of his eye, Izuku saw Ida running towards him. Izuku. Ida, what are you doing here? Everyone from Class 1B stopped their training to see Ida. Ida. Kazan-sensei, the USJ is under attack. Izuku, what? Hey, Ida, wait. But Ida continued to run towards the main building. Izuku. Damn it. Everyone go back to class. Our training for today is over. Izuku then run towards the USJ full speed. Meanwhile, inside the USJ, we can see Aizawa being beaten to a pulp by a Nomu, while Machi was also on the ground coughing up blood. Shigaraki. The Nomu was made to beat All Might in his prime, and even if you could defeat it, we already got back up as you saw Machi. Machi looked up looking towards Shigaraki and the figure that just punched her across the USJ. Machi. What the hell are you three doing here? Three figures stood behind Shigaraki and Kirojiri. Izumi, impossible. 2. The sweet three generals. Cracker. While big brother Kakuri, your daughter, doesn't look happy to see you. Katakuri. Smoothie. Equally, just order your creature to finish the job, handboy. Shigaraki. Nomu kill, eraser head now. Machi no. Aizawa. Just as the Nomu was about to deliver the death blow, the doors of the USJ flew open, and the Nomu was impaled by 4 ice spears. Izuku. Partisan. Izuku jumped down and stood in front of the Nomu. He took Aizawa and threw him towards Machi, who catched him. Izuku turned around to see that the Nomu regenerated from the attack, but Izuku reacted fast. He charged forward and touched the Nomu. Izuku. Ice time. The Nomu froze and couldn't move anymore. Shigaraki. What Nomu, come on, you can break out of that ice. Katakuri. No, he can't. Shigaraki. Smoothie. He froze not only the skin of the Nomu, he froze all of the Nomu, even his organs. Your beast is dead. Cracker. Why is he to be here? Katakuri didn't said anything and just looked at his daughter, but his mind was ripped back to the situation before him as Cracker attacked Izuku. Cracker swung his sword at Izuku. What Izuku dodged. Izuku then drew his own sword and sent it a flying cut towards Cracker, who dodged as well. Cracker then thrust it at Izuku, and Izuku didn't dodge. Everyone thought that Cracker just killed him, but then ice began cover his sword and Cracker's arm. Izuku. Ice block. Ice spears pointed at Cracker, who tried to get away, got scared, but then Izuku was punched away. Cracker. That was close, thank you, big bro. Katakuri. Don't underestimate him. Smoothie. Yeah, Cracker. But it is really a surprise to see you here, Kazan. Kazan. This world is small, isn't it? Kazan stood in front of the 3 generals ready to fight. His students were very afraid for their teacher, Izumi. Kazan isn't going to fight against all 3 alone, is he? Kirishima. Those 3 are the strongest fighters of the Charlotte family. Machi. Here, look out for Aizawa and 13. Machi laid Aizawa down next to 13 and then run down the stairs towards Kazan to help him. Katsumi. Machi-sensei. Izuku didn't look back as he heard the class for Machi to come back. But Machi first stoked as she stood beside Izuku and stared down her father Katakuri. Machi. Sorry, Kazan, but I can't let you have the whole fun, she said as she drew her kunai and got into a fighting stance. Izuku. I knew you wouldn't let it slip, Rab. Izuku pointed his sword at the 3 generals. Then Izuku and Machi charged at the same time. Izuku took on Cracker and Katakuri while Machi attacked Smoothie. Izuku swung his sword at Cracker, who blocked, and kicked at Katakuri, who simply turned into Machi to dodge it. Then Izuku dodged Katakuri's spear and dodged Cracker's sword by turning into ice, but Katakuri followed with a punch and hit Izuku in the face, and Izuku flew back a few meters. But Katakuri jumped into the air. S&D brought his leg up. It looked like Katakuri was making an axe kick, but then his leg turned into Machi and grew out like the branches from a tree, forming multiple legs. Katakuri. Willow Machi. The legs came down, and Izuku tried to dodge them as good as he could since they were all covered in haki. They wouldn't go right through him. But then one foot hit Izuku in the face, and that hit was followed by multiple hits all over Izuku's body, as Izuku flew back, spitting up blood and saliva. Izuku stood up and blocked the attack from Cracker, only to be kicked in the face by Katakuri. As Katakuri kicked him in the face, Izuku's sunglasses broke, revealing his dark green eyes. Izuku then brought up his arm to launch one of his most powerful attacks. Izuku. Ice block pheasant back. A giant ice bird came out of Izuku's hand and flew towards Katakuri and Cracker. Katakuri. Burning Machi. Katakuri's arm grew and turned into Machi as it started to glow red. Katakuri punched, and his arm came flying like a rocket towards the ice bird. The attacks collided, and a strong wind was created. The class up the stairs screamed, as some of them nearly flew away from the... Just imagine it as Katakuri's Machi attack. Kirishima. I can't believe it, that guy is stronger as Kazan-sensei. Izumi. Of course he is. Katakuri Charlotte is a high-level villain. Even some heroes from the top 30 in his worldwide ranking struggle against him. Momo. Wait guys, where is Mina? The class looked around, but couldn't see the pink-skinned girl. Back to the fight. Izuku flew back as Katakuri's attack turned out to be stronger than his. Katakuri. Power Machi. Out of 2 Machi donuts came 2 big Machi arms that then were covered in haki. Katakuri moved his own arms in a punching motion, and the big arms moved and punched Izuku. Katakuri. Power Machi Gatling. The punches became faster and faster until the arms were just a blur in the wind. On the other side, Machi didn't have it better as Smoothie kicked her into the ground, creating cracks under her. Smoothie. You know, Rabinda, you should have joined us as you could. Smoothie stumped on Machi's face. She brought up her sword-toe finish of Machi as Mina. Acid shot. A bullet of acid hit Smoothie's chest, and the general screamed in pain as the acid started to burn her clothes and skin. She stumbled back a bit to get the acid off of her. Mina rushed to Machi and tried to lift her to get her out, but luck wasn't on their side. Smoothie. You little moron. Smoothie swung her sword ready to kill Mina. Mina closed her eyes and waited for the sword to cut right through her, but the hit never came. But she could hear a slice noise, and not even a second later she heard Smoothie scream. Mina opened her eyes to see Kazan. She screamed as she saw the state in what her teacher was. His suit was ripped. He was bloody from head to toe, and his left arm and right leg locked like it was broken. But he still was standing in front of Machi and Mina like an unbreakable wall protecting them. Smoothie held her bleeding belly where Kazan just sliced her. Cracker, Smoothie. Her brothers run over. Cracker took care of Smoothie while Katakuri looked at Izuku. Katakuri. I can't believe it. The great Kazan is just a teenager. Smoothie and Cracker looked at Izuku and saw that he lost his hat and sunglasses revealing his. Cracker. You have to be kidding me. Cracker charged at Izuku, but Izuku brought up his sword and started a. Cracker blocked all of the attacks, but he still stumbled back because even so Izuku was extremely hurted. He wouldn't show that it made him weaker. Katakuri. Even with all of the pain he is going through right now, he still fights on. Katakuri's eyes glowed red for a second, and then he turned around. Katakuri. Come on, let's go. There will be reinforcements soon. Katakuri, Cracker, and Smoothie walked towards Kirojiri and Shigaraki. Kirojiri opened a portal and they all walked through it. Back to the class. They just saw Kazan's face. Kirishima. What, the Kazan is just a teenager like us. Kaminari. How can he still stand after that beating? Izumi. That can't be. Katsumi. That is : Isumigon, Isuku, Unishon, Deku, Susu. Siro. Who is that? Izumi. Kazan is my long-missing brother. Everyone minus the gang. What? Just then Ida came back with the UA staff. Every teacher became wide eyes as they looked at the destruction. Some of them rushed to Aizawa and 13, while the others run down the stairs, capturing the villains that were still there and running towards Kazan and Machi. As All Might and Green Wave, Inko, came close, they saw Kazan's face. All Might was shocked while Inko started to cry as she saw her baby boy. All Might. Izuku, is that you? Izuku didn't answer. Inko, what happened here? What happened to you? Izuku, no singash, upned. No one POV. Izuku, Machi, Aizawa, and 13 were brought to the hospital. The news about the attack on the USJ spread around like wildfire. But what many people were shocked about more was the fact that Kazan was not older than 16, and that he was also the long-dead believed son of All Might. Izuku was in the hospital room together with Machi. They were watching the news as the news reporter mentioned Machi. Reporter. The police has the theory that this attack was a revenge attack against the underground hero Machi, also known as Rabinda Charlotte. As many know, Machi took down and captured the eldest son of Big Mom Perispero Charlotte. That's why the police believes that this attack was mainly against her and not against UA Now to Sports. Izuku put out the TV and looked over to Machi, who was looking at the ceiling. Machi. Great, just great now. I am the bad guy again. Izuku. You are a girl. Machi. Oh, shut up. That's no time for jokes, Kazan. Izuku, sorry. Machi. After I captured Perispero, people finally accepted me as a hero and not as a Charlotte spy, but now I'm the Charlotte who brings everyone in danger. Izuku. Stop talking yourself down, you are still a hero without you. This day could have ended much bloodier. Machi sighed and then looked at Izuku. And what is about you, Kazan or Izuku? Izuku. Well, I will still be a hero, but there will be an investigation probably. Machi, about what? Izuku. About the custody over me. I may be a hero, but I am still underage. Machi. Sucks to be you. Izuku. You Oswell. Just then the door opened, and in came Maruko. She ran towards Machi and brought her into a hug. Machi. Oh, Rumi, I am okay. You were squizzing me. Maruko. Do you have any idea how worried I was as I heard about the attack? Maruko broke the hug and looked Machi directly in the eyes before she closed the distance and kissed her on the lips, and long story short, they started to do something in front of Izuku. Izuku's sweat drop stood up from his bed and walked out the door. The couple didn't even notice as Izuku left and just continued. With Izuku, Izuku was walking down the corridor, but nearly every step he took hurted like hell. So he sat down near a coffee machine, he poured some coffee into a cup, and just relaxed. He picked up a newspaper and started reading it as he felt some people he didn't want to talk to coming down the corridor. Izuku quickly hid beneath a table and waited. He saw the feet of people pass the room he was in. He waited a couple of seconds and then got out and walked out of the hospital as fast as he could towards the Moby Dick. As he reached the Moby Dick, he walked up the gangplank and onto the ship. Lucky for him, it was early in the morning, so everyone was eating breakfast. So he simply could walk to his room and sleep. He walked to his room and laid down. He woke up the next day and he was extremely hungry. So he walked into the cafeteria of the ship only to see everyone already eating breakfast. As they saw him, they stopped eating and looked at him with wide eyes. Izuku. Good morning, everyone. Vista. What are you doing here? We thought you were at the hospital. Izuku. Well, yeah, I released myself yesterday. Whitebeard. So that is why Inko and Tashinori were here yesterday. Izuku. They were here, Marco. Yeah, they were pretty loud too, screaming around your name, threatening to call the police, and all that we had to throw them off the ship because they wouldn't come down. Izuku got extremely angry hearing that. Izuku. I am sorry for that. Whitebeard. You don't need to apologize, you are my son, of course we wouldn't let them get to you. Eri walked over to Izuku and hugged his leg. Izuku smiled at her and patted her head. He then picked her up, walked over to the buffet where Thatch stood. He already had a plate in his hand filled with bacon, eggs, and pancakes. Izuku. Thank you, Thatch. Thatch. No problem, you deserved it. Izuku walked over to Ace. He led Eri down and sat next to Ace, and Eri sat next to Izuku. Ace. So, what are you going to do now? Izuku. Is quitting an option? Ace, maybe. Izuku began to eat and continued to speak with Ace, Eri, and Marco. After a while, Izuku's phone rang. Izuku, hello. Nizu. I'm Mr. Newgate, good to hear from you. As we visited the hospital, yesterday you weren't there. Izuku. Yeah, I released myself a little bit early. Nizu. Well, the hospital went crazy as they realized you were gone. Izuku. Well, Machi and Nizu. I know we saw them as we walked into your room. They didn't even realize that you left. Izuku. I knew that. Now, Nizu, what do you need? Nizu. I need you in UA today, no training, just an announcement. Izuku sighed. Okay, I will be there. Nizu. Good, I see you in an hour. Nizu hang up, and Izuku put his phone down and sighed. Ace work. Izuku, yes. 1 hour later in UA. Izuku wore normal clothes. Since his suit got destroyed, he walked towards Class 1A and saw Aizawa about to enter. Izuku. Why you look like a mummy? Aizawa. Says the one who has an arm cast and leg cast and walks without crutches and with a bandaged head. Izuku. I just use my eyes to help me walk. Now come on, I can sense that the class is waiting for us. Aizawa whispering. Man, I wished I had observation hockey. Izuku opened the door and walked in, followed by Aizawa. The class was shocked to see their two teachers being here. Ida. Aizawa sensei. Kazan sensei. You shouldn't be here, you should recover. Izumi. Izuku. She tried to hug Izuku, but she just fell through him, unable to touch him. Izuku. Yagi, please go to your seat, we have our announcement. Izumi had tears in her eyes as she walked back to her seat, while Katsuki and Shoto looked extremely pissed at Izuku, while Shoka and Katsumi had a blush on their faces. Aizawa, now, your fight isn't over. Class 1A thoughts, more villains. Izuku. The sports festival is coming up. Class 1A, whoa. Izuku. Shut up. The entire class went silent. Aizawa. The festival will be in 2 weeks from now on. Izuku. The school will give you this 2 weeks free, so you can train for the festival. Aizawa. That is everything. The rest of the day is free. Go home and train. Izuku and Aizawa left. Izumi again tried to grab Izuku, but to no avail as her hand simply went through him. After that, Izuku walked to the principal office with Aizawa. Izuku activated his observation haki to sense who was in the office. Izuku. They are in there. Aizawa. Are you nervous? Izuku. No, I am stronger than both of them. Aizawa nodded and walked into the office followed by Izuku. Nizu. Aizawa and Kazan. Inko. Izuku. Inko tried to hug him, but just like Izumi, she went through him. All Might. Izuku, that is no way how to treat your mother. Izuku. Who asked for your opinion? Izuku said this sentence with so much venom in his voice that All Might went silent, while Inko cried on the floor. Izuku. I am actually only here to get my sword, and then I will leave, and he turned towards All Might. Izuku. If you dare come to the Moby Dick one more time like yesterday, I personally will freeze you into an ice ball and throw both of you into the ocean, understand? All Might and Inko looked shocked at how Izuku was talking with them, but he didn't care. He took his sword and walked out of the office with a word. Nizu. Well, that just happened. No one POV. We can see Izuku, Eri, the other commanders, and Whitebeard were sitting in the stadium watching the sport festival. The obstacle race has just ended, and the members of the Whitebeard crew were talking about who they take as internship. Jozu. I will take that Kirishima kid. Vista. No one from them caught my attention so far, but that Ojiro kid, he looks like a hard worker. I will take him. Marco. Izuku, that are your students. Do you have some suggestions? Izuku. Kirishima and Tetsu for Jozu. Ojiro or Kendo for Vista. Shoto and Shoka for Ace. Yaoyorozu for Marco. Ace. Wait, why should I take your bullies? Izuku. Well, they talked to me before the festival and why they bullied me. Ace, why? Tells them the entire story of their life. Whitebeard. So they thought your life was perfect. Izuku. Kind of yes. Ace. While that guy is a shame to every fire hero in the world, in my opinion. Izuku. He definitely is. Eri. Who will you take? Izuku. Izuku. Hitoshi Shinso. Marco. Hawaiian. Izuku. I like him. He is working hard for his spot in the hero course, and he is the best in my class. Whitey Bay. Then I will take Mina Ishido. Izuku. Why her? Whitey Bay. She looks like a sweet girl. Oh, you also seem quite to like her. Izuku tries to hide his little blush. Don't be stupid. She is my student, nothing else. Whitebeard. You know, Izuku, it's okay to date the girls in this school, since you are the same age, even if you are their sensei. Izuku. Wait, really? Whitey Bay. So you do like her? Izuku became a blushing mess. Something like that didn't happen to him since he became Kazan. The commanders just started to laugh at their blushing and mumbling family member. But they stopped laughing as they were approached by a tall guy in a yellow suit with a white jacket wearing it over his. Izuku. Oh, Borsalino, it has been a while, hasn't it? Kizuru. Yeah, it has been Kazan, or should I say Izukuyagi. Izuku. So you know it too already, huh? Kizuru. It was all over the news around the world. The worldwide number 49 hero is a teenage boy. Izuku. First of it's Izuku Newgate, and second, what brings you to Japan? I thought you and Akainu had a mission. Kizu. We finished it early, and Akainu wanted to see the performance of his niece. Izuku. His niece is in UA? Kizuru. Yeah, her name is Yui Kodai. I met the girl once. She is the complete opposite of Akainu. Izuku and Kizuru continue to talk to each other and miss the entire sports festival. The fights go as in canon with Bakugo winning. As the medals were handed out, and All Might removed the mouth mask from Bakugo. Bakugo. All Might, this is victory is bullshit. I can't accept a victory like this. All Might. Now, young Bakugo. He tried to give Bakugo the medal, but to no success. Bakugo. I want to fight someone who is a real challenge. I want to fight Deku. The stadium was silent. Nobody knew who Deku was, and Izuku flinched as he heard his old nickname. Then Izuku stood up and jumped. He landed in front of the podiums, and the entire stadium was shocked as they saw Kazan being the one who was meant with Deku. All Might nervous. Now, young Bakugo, you won. You stand no chance against him. Nizu. I allow it. The entire stadium was shocked at that, but you could hear several people laugh in the stadium. Akainu. Oh my god, that boy signed his death sentence. Ha ha ha. He's a little bit nicer in this one. Whitebeard. Gurara, that will be fun to watch. Bakugo was freed from his shackles. All Might and the rest of Izumi's gang were now extremely worried for their friend, while Izuku needed to hold in his laughter because of the stupidity Bakugo was showing to not see the difference between them. 10 minutes later, the fight was about to begin. Present Mike. Well, ladies and gentlemen, for the first time in the history of the UA Sport Festival, there will be a fight between a student and pro hero. Izuku entered the arena, and so did Bakugo. They went into the ring as Midnight lifted her hands. Katsuki, I will show you where you stand. Izuku, I can tell you where you stand beneath my boot in a second. Katsuki was fuming with anger. Midnight, fight! Katsuki shooted himself towards Izuku with his explosion. He tried to throw a right hook with her explosion, but as soon as the dust settled, everyone saw Izuku just standing there, not even a scratch on him. Izuku, was that everything? Katsuki was shocked, but catched himself, and then started to attack over and over again until he was breathing hard. Katsuki, I see. Can't lose. I am the future #1. Katsuki tried to shoot at Izuku again, but his hand was caught, and it slowly started to freeze. The ice slowly covered his body. The last thing he saw was Izuku coming closer to his face, and the last words that Izuku said to Katsuki would be hunting him for the rest of his life. Izuku, pathetic. No one POV. Class 1, it was sitting in their classroom, and we're talking about what they would do today. Izumi and her friends tried to calm down Katsuki. Since the sports festival, Katsuki was angry more than usually. The reason for that was that he couldn't get Izuku's words out of his head. Katsuki, I will kill him. Grrrr. Izumi, please Kaken, calm down. Shoto, but to be honest, what did you expect? He isn't the number 49 in the world for nothing. Kirishima, number 47-inch. Shoka, what did you say? Kirishima, he moved up. He is number 47 now. Katsuki, since when? Kaminari, he was moved up after the USJ incident. Katsumi, well, why he was just beaten up? How could he move up? Shinso, because he fought all 3 sweet generals, survived, and wounded one, even if it wasn't a fatal wound. Katsuki, I could have done better than that. Shinso, shut up, you Pomeranian. Cracker could have killed you in a few seconds without problem, and he is the weakest one of the 3 generals. Katsuki, watch it, Villian. Shinso, oh, that is funny for you. Didn't you try to kill me after I beat your ass? Katsuki, yeah, and his eyes became blank. Shinso, make the chicken dance and make the noise Oswell. Katsuki, bwag bwag bwa. Katsuki walked around the room making the chicken dance and bwaying to it. Just then Izuku walked into the room and saw the entire class minus Izumi's gang laughing at Katsuki. Katsumi, he will blow up UA after this. Izuku, why is he like that? Mina, haha. Shinso, ha ha ha, made him like that. Izuku looked at Shinso and Shinso looked at him. Shinso, he was talking shit. Izuku, Sai, as funny as this is, could you please let him free so we can start? Shinso shrugged with his shoulders. Yeah, but you will have to freeze him. Shinso snapped with his fingers and Katsuki became normal again. He looked confused because he was in another part of the classroom all of a sudden. He then remembered what happened and started to charge at Shinso. Katsuki, you damn villain. But his charge was stopped by Izuku, who grabbed the collar of his uniform. Izuku, sit down, so I can finally start. You can deal with each other after we are finished. Katsuki, TCH. Katsuki did as told. Izuku then walked back to the front of the class. Mina, congratulations, sensei, for moving up. Izuku, I moved up? You didn't know? Izuku, no, I don't care for my rank. Which place am I? Kirishima, number 47. Izuku, so that means I am above Aso. Man, he will be so upset. Izuku, anyways, today you will have to make a decision that will impact your entire hero career. You need hero names. Class 1A, that's totally awesome. Izuku, silence. The class chewed up. Izuku, now I am not the best at that, so Midnight will help you. Midnight, you better choose wisely, because the name you choose could be the name you carry for the rest of your career. Izuku, okay, now start, and then present it to the class. All names are the same. Izumi, my name is Green Telek. Katsumi, my name is Lady Maria. Midnight, Lady Maria, isn't she from a game? Katsumi, yes, she is a boss fight, and she is awesome like me. Shoka, Midnight, your name just like your brother? Shoka, yeah. Midnight, Shinso, you're the last one. Do you have your name? Shinso, yeah. Shinso, I am the brainwashing hero. So no. Midnight, sounds good. Now that was everyone. Kazan, you can continue. Izuku, thank you. Now we come to your internship. No fear for those who weren't picked. We have a list of agencies who are willing to take some of you in. Izumi Yagi, 8.564. Shoto Todoroki, 7,000. Katsuki Bakugo, 5986. Hitoshi Shinso 1. Momo, Shinso, you got one. Shinso. Who would want me? Katsuki. Yeah, who would want you, fucking villain? Izuku. I took him as my internship. Shinso, you can of course go somewhere else if you want. Shinso. Now thank you so much for this chance, sensei. Izuku. Now here are the lists for those people who have internship offerings, and here are the lists for those who don't choose wisely. Izuku walked closer to Shinso. Izuku. Can we talk really short? Shinso. Of course. Shinso stood up and walked behind Izuku out of the room. Izuku closed the door as Shinso came out, and then closed the door. Shinso. What do you need me for, sensei? Izuku. I'll get straight to the point. Are you the son of Charlotte Cracker? Shinso. How? Why would you think that? Izuku, are you? Shinso. Yeah, Cracker is my father. But how did you find out? Izuku. You two share some similarities. Shinso. So what now, am I expelled? Izuku. No, of course not. Why should we expel you when Machi is a teacher here? I just wanted to know so I can prepare. Shinso. Prepare for what? Izuku. To train you to the point of collapse, since I think your goal is the same as Machi's, is it? Shinso. Yet as I want to defeat my father. Izuku POV. I was with Class 1A at the train station in Mizutofu. Izuku. Okay, here we split. When you arrive at your agency, show some manners. I don't want to be ashamed of you. All those who have an intern with the Whitebeard crew follow me. Ojiro, Momo, Shoto, Shoka, Shinso, Mina, and Kirishima were walking with me towards a bus that would bring them to the harbor. Ojiro got an internship with Vista, Yairozu with Marco, Shoto and Shoka no surprise ace, Kirishima with Jozu, but Ishido I have no idea who she is interning with. Izuku. Ishido, who are you interning with? Mina. Whitey Bay wanted me, so I took it. Izuku. Okay, mine, damn you, Bay. Time skip, no one POV. We can see the group leaving the bus walking towards the Moby Dick. The students were awestruck by the size of the ship. But for Izuku, the size of the ship was totally normal, but what the other ships he saw made his eyes go big. Izuku. Oh, Ojiro. Sensei, are you okay? Just as Ojiro asked that question, there was a loud bang. Everyone looked up the ship to see three people run and scream for their lives. One of those people was Ace. Momo. Sensei, what is going on? They looked at their sensei, only to see him frozen in fear. Come back here. Everyone looked up the gangplank again to see an old man with white hair and beard running after the three. Pick is not mine. Momo, what is going on? Just as Momo asked that, a boy with a straw hat saw Izuku and screamed, Izuku, help us. The group ran towards him. Izuku's eyes went wide and he turned around screaming, Izuku. Ino, go away from me. I don't want to die. Izuku run for his life, screaming for his life, followed by the group, followed by the old man. The students that just arrived were left in shock as they saw their sensei run away full of fear. Shinso. What just happened? Mina. The best thing. Izuku and the other three were sitting on deck of the Moby Dick and were healed by Marco and a little reindeer. The students were scared shitless of the old man who just beat up their teacher, Fire Fist Ace, and the other two, and the old man just laughed with Whitebeard. After a while, Shinso was the first one with enough courage to walk up to their teacher to ask, Shinso. Sorry, sensei, but who are those people? Izuku. Oh, this is Sabo, the staff chief of the Revolutionary. Sabo. Nice to meet you. Izuku. This is Straw Hat Luffy, captain of the Straw Hats. Luffy, yo. Izuku. And that old guy is Vice Admiral Garp the Fist. Garp. Who are you calling old? Izuku, no one. Shinso. What are they doing here? Reindeer. We are waiting for our internship. Kendo and Tetsu. What the hell happened to you, sensei? Izuku. Your internship happened. Garp. You must be Itsuka Kendo and Tetsu. Nice to meet you. Kendo. It's an honor to meet you, Garp, sir, she said while bowing. Garp. Haha, someone with manners, but don't think that is going to save you from the training I have planned for you. Kendo and Tetsu gulped and nodded, and then followed after Garp to his ship. Luffy. Rest in peace. Koda and Shoji. Sensei. Izuku. Oh hey, you two, who are you interning with? Chopper. With us. Sanji. Chopper could choose this year's internship, and he liked those two. Zoro. Let's see what they're made out of. Luffy. I believe that Chopper made a good choice. Sure. Brook. Yo-ho-ho-ho, I can't wait to know more about you two. Luffy. By Sabo, Ace and Izuku. Sabo, Ace, Izuku. By Koda and Shoji followed the Straw Hats towards the Thousand Sunny. Pony and Kyoka. What? Izuku. Don't ask. Sabo. Pony, Tsunatori, and Kyokajiro. Nice to meet you. You two will go with me. Both. It's an honor, sir. Sabo. No need for such formalities. I am just a few years older than you two now. Let's go. By Ace and Izuku. Ace and Izuku by Izuku. So that leaves only us now. Let's start. Yairose, you go with Marco. Momo walked over to Marco. It's an honor to work with you, sir. Marco. No need for formalities. Just call me Marco. Izuku. Kirishima, you are with Jozu. Kirishima walked over to Jozu. Kirishima. Sir, it's an honor to meet you. You are so manly. Jozu. Ha 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 ha. I like this guy already. Izuku. Ojiro, you are with Vista. Ojiro walked over to Vista. Ojiro. Sir, I will try my best to not let you down. Vista. I know you will. Izuku. Todoroki's, you are with Ace. Shoto and Shoko walked over to Ace and bowed. Ace looked at them as good as he could with his bandaged head. Shoto and Shoka. We will do our best. Ace. Don't make me regret this. Both nodded. Izuku. Ashido, you are with Bei. Ashido walked over to Whitey Bei and bowed. Mina. It's an honor that you chose me, Whitey Bei. Bei. Just call me Bei. Ashido. We two will have a lot of fun together. Izuku. Okay, then Shinso, you are with me. Shinso. Yes, sensei. Izuku. Okay, everyone, good luck. Shinso, follow me. Shinso followed after Izuku as they walked into the ship towards Izuku's room. As the door to Izuku's room opened, Shinso didn't saw anything special until he saw 3 devil fruits in front of him on a table. Izuku walked behind the table and turned towards Shinso. Izuku. Now Shinso, when you want to defeat your father, there are 2 ways. Either you train until you have the strength to face him with what I can help you, or you eat a devil fruit to help you make it easier. Shinso, you want to give me a devil fruit? Aren't they extremely expensive? Izuku. Yeah, but I found some over the years and now have a little collection now. Izuku pointed towards a purple fruit. Izuku. This is the Nagi Nagi Nomi, the silence fruit. It can help you with your stealth a lot, especially against your father, since he can summon an army of biscuit soldiers, so maybe attacking from the shadows could be useful. Izuku then pointed at a yellow fruit with black dots. Izuku. This is the Nico Nico Nomi-type leopard. You can transform into a full leopard or hybrid form of it. Izuku then pointed at a fruit that was completely see-through. You only could see the form of the fruit. Izuku. This is the Suk Suk Nomi, or the Clear Clear fruit. She allows the user to turn invisible, but not only the user, but everything you touch, you can turn invisible. Weapons, clothing, or other humans, doesn't matter, you can turn nearly anything invisible. Shinso looked at the 3 fruits in front of him. That was a hard decision for him. Just then Izuku put his hands on the table and looked at Shinso. Izuku. But remember, when you eat a devil fruit, you lose the ability to swim. So, which one should it be? Or do you chose the first way? Shinso mind, what do I choose? What do I choose? No one POV. Izuku. So what are you gonna choose? Shinso was looking between the fruits, thinking hard about what he should do. Shinso mind, the silence fruit could help me with my stealth, but so does the clear clear fruit. But speed is also important, and for that the leopard fruit would be perfect, but then again I lose the ability to swim. I know what to do. Izuku. So? Shinso. I choose the clear clear fruit. Izuku. Good choice. Now I don't need to hide it anymore if the Straw Hats visit. Shinso. Why would you hide it from them? Izuku. Because of Sanji. Now eat it, then put on your hero suit, and then meet me in front of the ship. We have work to do. Shinso. Hi. Izuku walked out of the room and left Shinso alone. Shinso looked at the fruit in his hand and bite into it. He then pulled away and nearly threw up because of how disgusting the fruit tasted, but he continued to eat it until the fruit was gone. Shinso, disgusting but worth it. Hopefully. After that, Shinso continued to put on his hero suit and gear. Picks or not. Capture. Brass knuckles with built-in taser. Yes, I'm going to give him more equipment. He is also going to be the Batman of this story. Shinso then walked out of the room and towards the front of the ship. He walked down the gangplank and towards Izuku, who was waiting for Shinso to turn up. Izuku. I finally took you long enough. Shinso. You could have warned me about how disgusting that thing is. Izuku. Nah. Now come on, we have 1 week and a lot of work to do. Shinso. What are you going to teach me? Izuku. Since we only have 1 week, I will teach you one of the 6 powers. Shinso. What are those? Izuku. The 6 powers are learnable techniques that give the user superhuman speed, where you can harden your skin. Shinso. Which one will you teach me? Izuku. I will teach you Soru. Soru allows you to move faster than the eye can see. Combine that with your devil fruit, and you can use your quirk without the fear of being found. Also, Cracker is strong, not fast, since he counts on his biscuit soldiers to win the fight for him. Now put this on. Shinso. Is that a vest? Izuku. It's a weight vest. Before we start training, we have a meeting with someone. Shinso. Izuku. Machi. Shinso. Why her? Izuku. Because she also wants to beat her father and bring down the Charlotte family. So she is our ally, and before you ask, no, she don't know that you are Cracker's son. Now put this vest on. Shinso sighed and tried to lift the vest, only to nearly fall over as he struggled to lift the vest. Shinso. What the hell? How heavy is that thing? Itsuku. 500 kilogram. Shinso. Do you want to break my back? Izuku. You will survive it. Let me help you. Izuku picked up the vest with no effort and put it on a dumbfounded Shinso. As Izuku let go of the vest, Shinso nearly collapsed as he tried to stand with the vest on. Shinso. HNNNGGGH. How am I supposed to move with that? Izuku. Simple, just walk. Shinso took a step that looked like he was glued to the floor, and he had to rip his foot of the floor. Shinso slowly took one step after another, making a face like he had to take a big shit. Izuku. That is a start, but I thought I trained you better. Couldn't you lift around 150 kilograms during our last physical exam? Shinso, yeah. But 150 isn't 500. Izuku. Come on, Shinso, you're one of my best students. After a day, you'll get used to the weight, and then we start the real training. Shinso, what? Izuku. The vest will help you slow you down for today. You will try to walk normal in the vest, but tomorrow you will start to run with her. And as soon as I see that the vest isn't slowing you down anymore, we will go heavier. Shinso. Gulp, how much heavier? Izuku. Well, at first we will see how fast you are without the vest, and then we will upgrade to 800 kilograms while we also train your devil fruit and fighting skill. By the end of this week, you are either close to achieve Soru, or you already have unlocked it. And then when we return to school, I will help you master it at the time of the finale exam. You should be able to use Soru like it was nothing. Shinso. What is with the other powers? Izuku. When the time comes, I will teach you Jeppo. I only know those two powers, but I know someone who can teach you the rest. But for now, we focus on Soru. Now you try to walk normally with the vest while I change my suit real quick, and after that we're going to meet Machi and probably Mirko. Before Shinso could ask, Izuku disappeared in thin air. Shinso again looked dumbfounded at the place where Izuku stood just a second ago. Shinso. Was that what Sora can do? After that, Shinso walked around until he somehow could walk normally with the vest without looking like he had to take a massive shit. Just then, Izuku walked down in his new hero suit. As Izuku saw Shinso walking around somewhat normal, he called out, Izuku. See, I told you that you would get used to the weight. Shinso. Who said I'm used to it? I just try to walk normally while my knees feel like they will break any second now. Shinso said as he turned around to look at Izuku, who came walking down the gangplank. Shinso, wow, that new suit looks. Just imagine, he has the sword on strapped to his side. Izuku. Thank you now. Come on, let's go. Machi is surely waiting already. Izuku started walking into the city. Shinso walked behind him only to realize that he was falling behind. So he started to run after him. Or better said, he tried, but he couldn't make 2 meters without being out of breath. Shinso, slow down. Izuku. Oh yeah, sorry, but hey, at least you managed to run 2 meters. Shinso. Yeah. Izuku slowed down so Shinso could walk beside him as they walked slowly towards the place where they would meet Machi. No one POV. Izuku. Come on, Shinso, we would be there already if you wouldn't stop all 10 meters. Shinso. That is easy for you to say. You don't wear a fucking weight vest. Izuku. I don't wear it because I'm used to it, and even if I would wear it, it wouldn't slow me down much. They were walking towards the coffee shop where they were supposed to meet Machi and Mirko. The shop was only half an hour away from the Moby Dick, but Shinso wanted to pause. After 10 minutes of walking, they were already walking slow, since Shinso couldn't walk faster with the vest. Izuku ready? Shinso, yeah. They were 20 minutes late, but they finally reached the coffee shop. Machi and Mirko were sitting on the terrace in front of the shop. Some people looked disgusted at them, or better said at Machi. Machi may look like she didn't care, but she worked hard to be a hero, but people still think she is a villain even after she captured Perispero, and after the USJ incident, even more people think that again. Izuku didn't like it how people were thinking about his friend, so he will give them a show of a lifetime. He walked towards the coffee. People saw him and freaked out about seeing the number 47 hero of the world, but Izuku ignored them, and so did Shinso as he walked straight towards Machi's table. Izuku, Io Rab. Rumi, sorry we are late. Mirko. You are finally here, Kazan. Machi. What's up, Izuku? Izuku, we have some things to discuss. Izuku sat down by their table. There still was one chair free, but Shinso stood behind Izuku, not even trying to sit down. Maruko, yo boy, why don't you sit down? Shinso, can't. Machi, of course you can. Shinso, sit down, we don't mind. Shinso, thank you, but really I can't. I probably would break the chair. Maruko, why that? Machi, wait, is that a weight vest? Shinso, yeah, Kazan sensei wants to teach me Soru, and for that I need to wear this vest. Maruko, how heavy is it? Shinzo, 500 kilogram. Machi and Maruko, Kazan, do you want to break his back? Izuku, sheesh, to learn Soru he must be light on his feet. The vest helps him with that. Also, it helps with his all-around strength. Maruko, you have a point, but take it if so he can sit down for now. Izuku, Oko. Izuku stood up and stepped towards Shinso. He opened the vest and took it off. As soon as the vest was gone, Shinso jumped towards the chair and sat down with a big sigh of relief. Izuku, wow, that was fast. Izuku put the vest beside him on the ground as he sat down on his chair. Exactly at that moment, the waitress came over to them. Waitress, Kazan, sir, it is an honor to welcome you here in our humble coffee shop. What can I get for you and your student here? Kazan, I'll take a cappuccino, please. Shinso, one espresso, please. Waitress, coming straight up. The waitress walked away to get the order. Machi, so what do you want to talk about? Izuku, well, I have some news for you. First, if I accept the alliance with you, and second, I already have someone else who wants to join. Maruko, who? Izuku pointed at Shinso, and Shinso looked down, afraid how to tell them. Machi, why? Waitress, here is your order, the waitress said, scaring the shit out of Shinso. Izuku, thank you, could you please do me a favor and look that no one comes near us? Waitress, of course. The waitress walked away and stood guard far enough away that nobody could hear them talk. Machi, while she didn't even ask about the why. Izuku, on plus point of being so high up on the world rankings is that nobody dares to question you. Maruko, true. Machi, now Shinso, why do you want to join? Shinso, well, you see, how do I say this? I am your cousin. Machi, what? Maruko, Shinso, if this is a joke, it isn't funny. Shinso, it isn't. My father is Charlotte Cracker. Machi, Izuku, is that true? Izuku, yet as I had a guess because of his violet hair, but then I looked more into it and actually found pictures in the police file of Cracker where Cracker was seen with Shinso's mother. Maruko, damn, as you wanted to talk with us, I didn't expected this. Shinso, I know I did pretty good work keeping my father's identity a secret until Kazan here found out, and since I don't have similar powers like those of my father, I got lucky and no one suspected me. Machi, you really had luck, didn't you? Huh. Maruko, Rab. It was silent around the table. Maruko looked with a worried face at Machi while Machi looked down sad. Shinso looked also down until Izuku took a sip of his coffee. Izuku, anyways, the plan is that we work on our strength, not only our personal strength, but also our strength in numbers. We are only 4 people. We need more people to join us. Shinso, what about the Whitebeards? Izuku, Pops is getting old, and we don't know how long he will be able to continue his hero work for the rest of the crew. I don't know, Vista would probably join. About the others, I don't know. Oh, before I forget it, Rab here gives a folded paper to Machi. Machi, what is that? Izuku, you asked me who could teach you more about hockey. You already know about armament hockey, but you need to learn the other 2 as well. So I asked an old friend. Machi, and who might that be? Izuku, Silver's Rayleigh. Maruko, Machi, and Shinso, what? Maruko, the former number 3 hero of the world. Shinso, how do you know him? Machi, he is still alive? Izuku, Ariera, calm down. Anyways, I met Rayleigh during my Vigilante days. I needed a place to hide and accidentally broke into his house. Machi, you what? Izuku, he kicked my ass until I explained why I am in his house and also as who I was. Machi, so he knew that you were All Might's missing son. Izuku, yeah, he did. Lucky for me, he knew my grandma. He let me stay in his place until it was safe for me to go. Maruko, wow, he just knew your grandma and he trusted you right at the hook. Izuku, pretty much. Machi, anyways, thank you, Izuku. Thank you for helping me. Izuku, no problem, Rab. We are friends after all. Now come on, Shinso, let's go. Shinso, we are going already. Izuku, you now drink out your coffee and put the vest on. Shinso whined but did as told. He drank out his coffee and walked over to the vest. He tried to lift it, but with no success, So Izuku had to help him again after that they started to leave. As Izuku was passing the waitress, he gave her a 500 yen banknote. Izuku, keep the rest, waitress. Thank you so much, sir, and please visit us again. Izuku and Shinso started their walk back to the Moby Dick in silence, this time without pause. Izuku, you finally seem to get used to the vest. Shinso, no, I feel like I will die any second now. Izuku, it's okay, Shinso, you will worry for the rest of today. Tomorrow, we will go jogging with the vest, and the rest we will train your fighting skill. Also, do you have any martial arts that you practice? Shinso, Ido, Izuku. And they are? Shinso. One is Systema. It's a martial arts that comes from Russia. It basically throws all martial arts traditional techniques out the window and improves on self-protection, three-dimensional awareness, grappling, striking, and weapons. Izuku. While that sounds quite interesting, can't wait to see it in action. Any others? Shinso. Number 2 is Muay Thai. Izuku, what is that? Shinso. Ever heard of the Taiwanese fighter Sagat? No one. POV. 2 days later. Izuku. Okay, how the hell did you not win in the sports festival? Shinso. I wanted to be low-key. It isn't good when someone like me gets much attention. Izuku. That is stupid. You will get attention in the future, one way or another. Izuku and Shinso were jogging around the harbor at the moment, or more like Izuku was walking while Shinso tried his best to at least run slowly. Izuku. After this, I want a sparring match. I want to see this. Shinso. We can do that when I am still able to walk after this. I am hungry. Izuku. We should get breakfast first when we return. You know what? Let's go back. Shinso. Yes. Izuku. Pretty energetic all of a sudden. Why don't we run back to the ship? Shinso. Stupid Hitoshi, why couldn't you shut up? Izuku. Come on, come on. You surely don't want to be late for breakfast now, do you? Shinso put all of his strength together and started running after Izuku with all he has got. Izuku on the other side was just normally jogging. Time skip when they reach the Moby Dick. We can see Shinso walking towards the table where the other interns sit. All of them look tired, but no one as much as Shinso and Ojiro. Momo, you two look horrible. Ojiro, I feel horrible. Shinso, my legs feel like they are falling off. Mina, what did they do? Ojiro, Vista-san, teach me the basics of sword fighting yesterday. Shoto, that doesn't sound that hard. Ojiro, he put weights on my legs to slow me down, and every time I moved wrong, I was hit with a wooden stick. Shinso, he gave you weights too? Ojiro, 20 kilograms for every leg. And you? Shinso, 500 kilograms. Vest, my legs feel like pudding, and my shoulders hurt like I shoulder barged a train. Kirishima, 500 kilograms, man. Does he want to break your back? Shinso, why does everyone say this? But yeah, I don't know if I can walk when this is over. Shoka, why so much? Shinso, he wants to teach me Soru. Momo, one of the 6 powers. Shinso, yeah, he said if I want to learn it, then I need to be faster. The intern group talked and ate their breakfast until Izuku came over. Izuku, come on, Shinso, let us continue with our work. Shinso, yeah, I am coming. Izuku walked away. Shinso took his dirty dishes and brought them back. After that, he got his suit and equipment. He then walked after Izuku, who was waiting for him on the deck of the Moby Dick. Izuku, took you long enough. Shinso, sorry, but it takes a while to put on my suit with all my equipment. Izuku, no problem, but that is the reason why I have simple suits. Shinso, understandable, but not everyone can have one of the most powerful devil fruits in the world. You can say what you want, that is my opinion, Logia, or just fight me. Izuku, true, now I want you to attack me. Shinso, what, here on the ship? But Izuku, no, but attack me right now. Right here. Shinso knew that he had no chance, but he would try his best. He got into a fighting stance with his capture scarf. Shinso didn't even need to try his quirk. He knew from videos that Kazan wasn't much of a talker during a fight, so he needed to come up with a plan to at least don't get down that easily like Katsuki. Shinso jumped forward towards Izuku. He turned his capture scarred invisible. What surprised Izuku, that Shinso already had some control over his devil fruit. But Shinso's attempt was for nothing, as the capture scarf simple went through Izuku without any effect. Izuku used his observation haki to sense the scarf. He grabbed it and pulled Shinso towards him and punched him in the face. Shinso flew backwards, but Izuku wasn't done. He pulled at the scarf again to punch Shinso in the face again, but before that could happen, Shinso jumped and got rid of his scarf. He flew over Izuku and went invisible. Izuku turned around and just looked at the horizon. He knew where Shinso was. He could sense him. Shinso got an eye dead and threw some of his shuriken at Izuku. The shuriken just went through him again, but they were only a distraction while he ran around Izuku to attack him from the side. He got out his brass knuckles with built-in taser and tried to throw a punch at Izuku. Izuku, however, catched his fist. Shinso pressed the button on the brass knuckles to send electricity through Izuku, let go of Shinso's hand. But Izuku followed up with a kick to his stomach, sending Shinso flying backwards. Shinso landed on his back, still invisible, but as he looked up he saw Izuku charging at him. Shinso did a backflip to avoid the attack, but Izuku got his leg and threw Shinso into the ground, and Shinso turned visible again. Izuku attacked again. This time Shinso managed to dodge the attack this time, but as he got up his fists he saw his brass knuckles were gone. He looked at Izuku and saw a smirking Izuku with Shinso's brass knuckles in his hand. Shinso, thinking of his next step, took a deep breath before he had an idea. He got up his hands in a blocking position while he also got into his knees, lightly going up, and Izuku, "So what else have you got?" Shinso didn't answer. He pulled his two fists back before punching forward, sending orange-like energy shot towards Izuku while shouting, "Shinso, Tiger." The shot flew towards Izuku. The attack surely would have dealt damage to Izuku if Shinso knew how to use haki, but he didn't, and so the attack simply went through him. It went into the sky where it then vanished. Izuku, "Impressive, so I guess that is what Muay Thai can do." Shinso, "Huff ya huff. Fuck, what do I do?" Izuku, Shinso, Izuku, "Hit me with your strongest attack." Shinso didn't wait a second after Izuku said that. Shinso put his hands in AX block. A light was being seen. After that, Shinso charged at Izuku in a speed close to Soru. Shinso, Tiger Genocide. Shinso landed behind Izuku, breathing hard before falling forward. Before Shinso could fall on his face, he was caught by Izuku. Shinso turned his head to see the face of his teacher, and he saw Izuku smiling at him. Izuku, not bad. After that, Shinso blacked out because of exhaustion. Shinso POV. Me and Kazan were currently on patrol. We were on the 4th day of our internship, and Kazan-sensei allowed me to take off the vest for our patrol. Even so, the vest was a pain in the ass. Literally, I can't deny that it did a good job. I feel much lighter even with all of my equipment on. This morning he made me run around the whole harbor. Normally it would take around 2 hours to do that, but with the stamina and endurance training he made me do, I only needed around an hour. He said that I could have been faster, but it was also a good start. Right now we patrol around Hosu. It was uneventful besides one time where Kazan was crowded by fans. It nearly took an hour until he was free. Izuku, I kinda miss my vigilante days. People rather stood away from me instead of crowding me. Shinso, but you is also hunted by the heroes across the world. Izuku, true. Anyways, get down. He grabbed me and pushed me down as something flew over me. No one POV. The Nomu flew over Shinso and threw Izuku. Lucky for the ice user, the thing didn't have haki, because this hit could have easily killed Shinso and him. Izuku turned towards the monster as he shot ice spears at the Nomu. The Nomu dodged them, but one of them hit his wing and it began to fall, and in the blink of an eye Izuku was in front of the Nomu and pressed his hand on the chest of the Nomu. Izuku, ice time. The Nomu screamed in pain as it felt his skin and organs freeze. Only an immortal quirk or fire quirk could have saved it now, but sadly it wasn't given such quirks. The Nomu fell to the ground and shattered into pieces. Only a few seconds after that, an explosion was heard, and Izuku turned towards the point where he heard it. He then turned his head to Shinso and said, Izuku, Shinso, I give you the permission to fight. Use your quirk and devil fruit. Now go and look for Ida. Shinso, how did you? Izuku, you think I am stupid? I knew that he would do something stupid. Now go and find him. I have everything handled here. With that, Izuku vanished as he ran towards the explosions. Shinso didn't waste any second as he ran the fastest as he can, looking for Ida. In an alleyway, we can see Ida laying on the ground as the hero killer stood above, sword in hand, as he brought up his sword ready to deal the killing hit as he heard the explosions. Stain, what are those idiots doing? Ida, HNGH, Stain, oh, you are still conscious? Well, not long anymore. Let's end this, you fake. Stain lifted his sword ready to kill Ida. Ida, equally what you say, you are just the villain who killed my brother. Tensei is dead in this one. As Stain was about to bring down his sword, the sword was pulled away. Stain looked towards the point where his sword was pulled and saw no one. Stain, who is there? Stain looked around, seeing no one. He then heard footsteps behind him that were coming nearer. He turned around, pulling out one of his machete, but he saw nothing. Not a second later, he was punched in the face And as if that wasn't enough, he also was electrified. He stumbled backwards off of Ida. He then was what looked like binded. Stain. What the? Why can't I move? As he struggled against the force. He could see a gray scarf slowly becoming visible. The scarf led to a dark figure that was standing in the shadows. The figure took a step towards Stain. As the figure stepped into the light, he saw a kid with purple hair, a mask, and a capture scarf around his neck, while he held a part of it tightly so that Stain couldn't escape his bindings. Shinso. So you are the famous hero killer. Stain. And you are that brainwashing kid from UA. Ida. Shinso, what are you doing here? This is my fight, not yours. Shinso. What I am doing here, I could ask you the same question, you fucking idiot. Ida. I must bring him in for my brother. Shinso. And die in the process. Do you really think that is what your brother wanted? Ida. Shinso. Your brother died as a hero, and now you should live as one. Ida. You are right. Stain. Nice words, boy, but that fake on the ground can't be saved anymore, so get out of my way. Shinso. First of all, no, maybe it does give people who deserve to die, but Ida isn't one of them. But yes, you deserve death for everything you have done. And second, Shinso's face became dark as he stared at Stain with hatred in his eyes as he said, Shinso, my name is Sun No. After that, Shinso pulled the hero killer towards him and punched him in the face, electrifying him with his taser brass knuckles again. Stain laid on the ground coughing and spitting out blood, but then he said something what shocked Shinso and Ida. Stain, you are brutal, as to be expected from the son of Cracker Charlotte. Ida, what? Shinso, how do you? Stain know? Well, I am a big fan of your cousin Machi, and you should talk about such things in the middle of the day. Shinso was shocked to realize that his grip on the scarf became lighter, and as soon as Stain realized that, he broke out and stormed at Shinso. Shinso snapped back to reality and dodged the punch. He tried to restrain Stain again, but Stain reached his sword and cut through Shinso's scarf before he rushed towards Shinso. Stain swung at Shinso, but Shinso caught the sword with Biss brass knuckles before he pressed the button on them to send electricity through Stain's sword, causing him to let it fall again. Shinso jumped up, kneeing Stain in the face. He got on the and kicked Stain's legs away, causing the hero killer to fall. But before he could even fall properly, Shinso jumped up again, right aiming for Stain's face. Shinso, Tiger. If someone finds a gif of this attack, please send me link. I couldn't find one. Stain fell on his back, but he was still conscious. He tried to get up, but he was met with a fist to the face. Shinso grabbed the hero killer by his collar and punched him rapidly in the face, his brass knuckles activated while doing so. After 10 punches, Stain was out, and Shinso let him fall to the ground. He was breathing heavy. Ida, Shinso, you are a Charlotte? Shinso didn't answer. He just stood over the unconscious body of Stain. Ida, answer me. I see. Both of them turned towards the sound of the voice, and who they saw made their hearts stop in fear. On top of a building, looking down on them, with a giant sword resting on his shoulder, sat Cracker Charlotte. Meanwhile, on the Moby Dick, Vista, you are doing great, young Ojiro. Ojiro. Thank you, Vista-san. Ojiro bowed towards his sensei. Vista, now I think you are ready for a real sword. It once belonged to a friend of mine, but he died a long time ago, and I am sure he would have wanted that someone like you gets it. Ojiro, I'm not sure about that. I am not as nearly as strong as I could be, and won't you miss it? I mean, it was the sword of a friend of yours after all. Vista, before he died, he told me that when I meet someone with the same fire in his heart as he did, then I should give his sword to that person, and I see those flames in your heart, Ojiro. Ojiro, thank you, sensei, but Vista, no buts, now follow me. Ojiro followed Vista to his cabin on the Moby Dick. The room was full with swords, but what caught Ojiro's eyes was a sword covered with a red fabric that was on the table. Vista, this sword saw many fights and is one of the sharpest blades I have ever seen. The name of the sword is... He pulled the fabric away. Ojiro was in awe about the beautiful sword in front of Vista. Niking, no one POV. Cracker. So that moron kept you a secret from me? Shinso was on his knees, all of his gear and weapons were laying around him broken. His brass knuckles crushed, his scarf sliced into pieces, and his shurikens all missed their target. His nose and left arm were broken, and he had a cut across his chest. Cracker had the tip of his sword pointing at the throat of his son. Shinso, don't call her that, Cracker. I will call her as I want. That moron just left me after I killed her useless brother of a hero while he attacked me as she introduced me to her family. Shinso, Maybe just knocking him out would have been enough. Cracker. True anyway now, why don't you join us? Shinso. Never. Cracker. What a shame, you would have been one of the strongest. Ida. Shinso. Cracker readied his sword to deal the final blow. Shinso still had an invisible shuriken in his left arm, ready to throw, but as he tried to throw it, he felt his hand freeze. He smirked, and that didn't go unnoticed by Cracker. Cracker. What are you smirking at? Shinso. Did nobody tell that you should wear a jacket when it's cold outside? Cracker. Huh? In that moment, an ice spear pierces through Cracker's shoulder, making the Charlotte scream in pain. Izuku. Partisan. Cracker stumbled backwards as he pulled the spear out of his shoulder. As he felt something cutting the left side of his neck, he looked at Shinso, who had his good arm stretched out as he threw his last shuriken. Shinso was cursing at his bad aim as he missed Cracker's throat. He looked at his sperm donator and saw his face. What he saw surprised him instead of seeing an angry Cracker. He saw a shocked one. Izuku. Shinso. Izuku drew his sword as he jumped at Cracker. Cracker snapped out of his shock and jumped backwards, then Cracker swung at Izuku for Izuku to block it and freeze Cracker's sword. Cracker jumped back again as a figure attacked him from the side. Machi pistol. Cracker tried to block the punch, but as soon as the fist hit his blade, the frozen blade shattered and Cracker was punched in the face. Cracker stumbled backwards again, avoiding another attack from Machi. Machi stood beside Izuku. Both had their weapons out ready to continue the fight with the sweet general. Cracker was in a difficult position. He then saw Ida slowly getting up from the ground, and he had an idea. He clapped his hands as he summoned a biscuit soldier and sent him to attack the two heroes. As Izuku and Machi were occupied with the biscuit soldier, Cracker run towards Ida in an attempt to take him hostage. Shinso saw that and got up to his feet and run towards Ida as well. Shinso, Ida looked up and saw Cracker running towards him, trying to grab him. As Shinso saw how close Cracker was getting to Ida, he thought. Shinso mind faster, faster, faster. As Cracker reached for Ida, everything slowed down for Shinso. He felt a power pushing him forward, and before he realized what is happening, he was by Ida. He grabbed him with his good arm as he continued to run, pulling Ida away from Cracker. Shinso came to halt and fell to the ground exhausted. Ida was immediately by his side. Ida! Shinso. Cracker was shocked as he saw the boy he just wanted to take hostage vanish in front of his eyes. He looked around and saw Ida kneeling beside a heavy-breathing Shinso, and Cracker immediately knew what just happened. Cracker. He can use Soro, Cracker said to himself before being kicked in the face by Machi. Cracker, shit. Cracker put his hand on his ear and said, Cracker, get me out now. Machi and Izuku charged at Cracker. Just then a purple portal appeared behind Cracker. Cracker stepped backwards into the portal. Izuku used Soro in an attempt to catch Cracker, but it was too late. Cracker was gone. Machi, damn it, Machi cursed. Izuku stayed silent as he shaked at his sword and walked towards the injured Shinso as Ida did his best to stop the bleeding wound on Shinso's chest. Izuku kneeled down, freezing the wound and stopping the bleeding. Shinso screamed in pain as he felt the cold closing his eyes. He felt like he was about to pass out. He opened his eyes and saw a smirking Izuku above him. Izuku, don't worry, you are safe now. Shinso, I did it. I used it. Soro. Izuku, yeah, you did good work, now rest. Shinso closed his eyes as he gave into the darkness. The last thing he heard was the voice of Cracker in his mind saying, Cracker, I didn't want to kill him. Shinso POV. I feel like shit. Not only was I beaten by my father, but someone else found out that I am a Charlotte, and that someone was Ida of all people. Ida. So, explanation please. Izuku, well, it's difficult. I mostly let Kazan-sensei speak to him. Not because I couldn't, but because I didn't want to. I knew that Ida wouldn't believe me, and that he would listen to Kazan, at least I hope so. No one POV. Ida. He is a Charlotte, sir. He is a villain. Izuku. Tell me, Ida, does being born by a villain mean that you are a villain? Does being born by a hero make you a hero? No, we are that what we choose to be, and Shinso chose to be a hero, just as you could have become a villain. Ida. That is not. Izuku. It is. Everyone has the power to choose his own path, how he wants to live his life. But people like you, Ida, try to push those people into a path what they don't want to be, and you believe. Because you were born into a hero family, you automatically are a hero. But yesterday you showed that you are not. Shinso was shocked to see Izuku like that. And so was Ida. Normally Izuku was calm and collected, and he never screamed. Izuku. Sorry about that, I lost my temper there. Anyways, Ida. Shinso wants to defeat his father. So does Machi. Machi did become a hero to gain strength to defeat her father, but to also prove people like you wrong that you aren't bounded to your blood, and I think both of them have shown that they are not villains, because if they were you would be dead already. Ita, Izuku. Nothing to say, thought so. Well anyways, Shinso, you will be released this evening. We will continue our training since you unlock Soru. But because you are injured, we can't do much else, so we will concentrate on you activating Soru so that you can master it later. Shinso, sensei. Izuku. Also, when you return to UA, go to the support course and get yourself some new equipment you're sure can survive, but anything else was pretty much destroyed. Shinso, will do, sensei. Izuku. Good, I will go now. I will come again this evening to get you. With that, Izuku left the room and left the two students alone in the room. Hours went by, but none of the two spoke. Ida was in his own thoughts thinking about what Izuku said and questioning his own actions. As for Shinso, he was just too tired to do anything. After around 2 hours, Ida finally spoke up. Ida, I am in your debt. Shinso, what? Ida, I owe you my life. You saved my life twice yesterday, and the only thing I did was get you in danger, and then saying you are a villain. Shinso, it's okay, I'm used to being called a villain because of my quirk, but that was the first time I was called one because I am a Charlotte. Ida, I know I can't do much to repay you for what you did, but if ever need help, just tell me. Shinso saw the determined face of Ida, and then he had an idea as a small smirk formed on his face. Shinso, well, you can help me with something. Ida, really? Shinso, yeah, you see me, Machi, Kazan, and Mirko are in an alliance at the moment. Ida, what kind of alliance? Shinso, to take down the Charlotte family. I want you to join. Ida, what? Shinso, yeah, you may not be the strongest, but you could be a great help for us. Ida, I may not be the strongest, and I will never be the strongest, but I will train to get stronger so that I can help you like you helped me. I never want to be the one again that needs saving. I will get stronger. I will become a better hero, and that is a promise. Shinso, does that mean? Ida, yes, I will join your alliance and help you to achieve your goal. I will help you with all my might, even if it costs me my life. The alliance has grown, but will it really strengthen the alliance, or will Ida only be a burden? No one POV. The internships were over, and Class 1A were back in UA. They all were sitting in the classroom talking about what they did during their internship. Hagakure. So what did you do, Jiro? Jiro. Seibo-san mostly taught me in hand-to-hand combat. It was mostly the basics like throws or grips, but he also showed me a way how I can break open the ground with my quirk. It is similar to what he can do with his Dragon Claw technique. Tsuyu. That is cool. Mina. What did you do, Tsuyu? Too. Nothing extraordinary, mostly trained, but once we stopped a couple of smugglers who were coming from China. Hagakure. This is awesome. I was just training or patrolling. Kaminari. Yeah, but that is nothing compared to what you two did. Kirishima. Yeah, man, the hero killer. Tokoyami. Is it true that Kazan-sensei saved you too? Ida. Yeah, he saved us. Hagakure. Oh, I wish my internship would have been so exciting. Shinso. Believe me when I say you don't. Kazan-sensei's training was hell. Just then the door opened, and two people walked into the room. One was All Might with his iconic smile, and the other one was Kazan, and he didn't look happy about the fact that he had to teach together with All Might. All Might. Hello class, I hope all of you had a good internship and that you learned a lot. Today we will do some training to see how much you have changed. Momo lifted her hand. All Might. Yes, young Yaoyorozu. Momo. Why is Kazan-sensei here? All Might. Yes, Kazan here will join us today by request from the principal. Izuku. Now everyone put on your hero suits and meet us in front of the school. Time skip to the training. The first group was ready to start. Izuku was standing by the finish point with a notebook in his hand. Izuku. Then let's see where you guys are at. All Might go. The first 5 to go were Ojiro, Shiro, Mina, Ida, and Izumi. Izuku. This trine is perfect for Shiro. It also looks like he has become faster with his tape. He then looked at Mina. Izuku. They did a good job. Mina looks much more secure with the usages and output of her acid. He then looked at Ida. Izuku. Even so, he just choose manual to get to stain. He at least improved a little bit. He looks more flexible even so he is injured. He then looked at Ojiro. Izuku. Vista did a great job. Ojiro looks pretty close to unlock Jeppo, but he isn't quite there yet. He then looked at Izumi. Izuku. She has extremely improved. It seems like she can finally control her quirk without breaking her bones, but can she keep up with the others? At first it looked like Izumi would be in first place, but one unfortunate step, and she fell, giving Shiro the victory in the race, followed by Ojiro, Ida, Mina, and then Izumi. Izuku. Thank you for saving me. Izuku gave Shiro the scarf that said, thanks for saving me. After that, the group left all besides one green-haired girl. Izuku, you did better than before the internship, but you still have to improve a lot. Izumi, brother Izuku, I am not your brother. I am not Izuku for you. I am Kazan, and I am your teacher, do you understand? Izumi, yes. I am sorry, sensei. Izuku, good, now go back to the others. I have work to do. Izumi, what are you writing, by the way? Izuku, you will find out after the tests. Izumi nodded sadly before turning around and walking towards the monitor room. In the monitor room, I really thought Izumi would win for a second. Momo, yeah, but you always have to look out where you're landing with your feet. Hagakure, yeah, but did you see how high Ojiro jumped and how fast he was? Kaminari, yeah, he definitely became stronger. All Might, next team please. Time skip after the tests are over. The tests were more than just a race. There was weight lifting, fighting hand to hand without quirk, and then a test of the all-around strength of their quirks. All Might, you all did great today. I could see that every one of you improved. Izuku, some of you improved nearly nothing at all. All Might, Kazan, all of them improved on their own way. Izuku, their Dariki says something else. To Dariki? Izuku, that is why I am here today in the first place. I was ordered to calculate your strength. Kaminari, calculate our strength. What? How? Momo, strength is measured in Dariki. Dariki is used worldwide for the measurement of strength. Izuku, exactly. If we take the number 1 hero Whitebeard as an example, his Dariki right now is around 1 million. During his prime, his Dariki was on 2 million. It only gave one person that had a higher Dariki than him, and that was Gold Roger, former number 1 hero. His Dariki was on 2.2 million inch. Kaminari, what there was someone who was stronger than Whitebeard. Izuku, yes, but Gold Roger only held the title for 3 years before he died of unknown sickness. Anyways, today, I'm going to measure your Dariki. Are you ready? Class 1A, yes. Izuku, good. As explanation, your quirk, physical strength, endurance played a role in this. Izuku looked down on his notebook. Izuku, Hagakure, you barely improved. Your Dariki at the start of the school year was 10. Before the internship, it was on 16, and your Dariki now is 20. You will have to work harder if you want to keep up with your classmates, or else you have no chance in the hero world. Hagakure looked down at the ground, sobbing could be heard. Ojiro walked over to her and put a hand on her shoulder. Ojiro, it's gonna be okay, Hagakure. I will help you. Gakure, really? Ojiro, yes. Izuku, Koji Koda, I was surprised from you, I must say. Your Dariki at the start of the year was 10, just like Hagakure. Before the internship, it was on 15, and now it's on 30. Continue your work like this, and your Dariki by the end of the year will be around 50 or 60. Koda nodded before he was congratulated by his friends. What made him blush? Izuku, Mizo Shoji, your Dariki at the start of the year was on 50 already, what is quite impressive. Before the internship, it is on 56, and now it is on 70. You made a large improvement, congratulations. Shoji, thank you, sensei. Izuku, Kyokujiro, your Dariki at the start of the year was on 19. Before the internship, it was on 26, and now it's on 40. You do good work, continue like this. Jiro, I will, sensei. Izuku, Mashireo Ojiro, your Dariki at the start of the year was on 22. Before the internship, it was 30, and now it's on 58. That is an extremely large jump, congratulations. Hagakure, wow, Ojiro, you're awesome, she said while she jumped in front of him. Ojiro, blushing, thank you, but without Vista, that wouldn't have been possible. Izuku, Tenya Ida, I am very disappointed with you. Your Dariki at the start of the year was on 24. Before the internship, it was on 35, and now it's on 40. I expected more. Ida, I am very sorry, sensei. Izuku, try to make it up. Izuku, Mina Ashido, your Dariki at the start of the year was on 17. Before the internship, it was on 24, and now it's on 46. Good work. Mina, I thought I was higher. Izuku, Ijiro Kurishima, your Dariki at the start of the year was on 21. Before the internship, it was 32, and now it's 60. Just like Ojiro, you made a large improvement. Kurishima, I know Jozu was so manly. Izuku, Momo Yairozu, you. All Might, could you just say how much they have now? It's nearly lunch. Izuku, Sai Momo Yairozu, your Dariki is 46. Jiro, damn it. Momo, looks like I won the bet. So where are we going after this? Izuku, Hitoshi Shinso, your Dariki is 98. Shinso nodded. Katsuki, How the hell is he so high up? Izuku. Because he works hard. Izuku. Shoto Todoroki has 82 and Shoka Todoroki has 77. The twins just nodded while the rest of the class was surprised to hear that Shinso had more Doriki than the Todorokis. Izuku. Katsuki Bakugo has 78 and Katsumi Bakugo has 76. Katsuki. No way, I'm at least at 100. Izuku. No, you're not. Izuku. Shirohana, you're on 47. Shiro. Not the highest, but at least not the lowest. Hagakure. Was that supposed to mean something? Izuku. To you, Azui, you're on 47, just like Shiro. To knew it. Ribbit dash. Izuku. Rikido Sato, you're on 50-inch. Sato, yes. Izuku. Denki Kaminari, you're on 45-inch. Kaminari. Oh, come on, I thought I was on 50. Izuku. Fumikage Tokoyami, you're on 71-inch. Tokoyami. Revelry in the darkness. Izuku. Izumi Yagi, you're on 83-inch. All Might. Not higher. Izuku. Like I said at the beginning, technique together with quirk, physical strength and endurance were taken into consideration. Her physical strength is outstanding, but she has technique or endurance when it comes to the usage of her quirk. That was it for today. Now go to lunch. Class 1A. Yes, sensei. The class went to class as Izuku left the school grounds as Machi joined him. Machi. So how does it look? Izuku. The Downfall Alliance has 255.138 Doriki. I have 200.000, you have 30.000. Mirko has 25.000. Shinso has 98 and Ida has 40. Machi. That is nothing. Izuku. No, it's a start. No one POV. Marco. You sure you want to go alone, Pops? Whitebeard. Yet it's been a while since I last visited them. Marco. Call us in case we should pick you up. Whitebeard. I will no fear, Marco. Whitebeard walked down the gangplank and into the city. All eyes were on the old hero as massive crowds of fans swarmed him asking for autographs or pictures. Whitebeard nearly was crowded for an hour before he could continue to walk. From the window of a tall building, an old man with a yellow cape and white suit could see Whitebeard walk by and decided to follow him. Whitebeard holed by a flower shop and got a beautiful flower bouquet. He paid and continued to walk. Whitebeard reached the entrance of the cemetery and walked in. He walked up a path up a hill towards two graves that stood on top of the hill. He stopped in front of the two graves. He put the flowers down on one grave before he sat down and got out a bottle of sake. Whitebeard. It has been a while, Roger. Nana, sorry that I couldn't make it earlier, but you know there is a lot of work these days. Whitebeard knew that he wouldn't get an answer, so he just sat there with closed eyes, remembering the good days that he had with his friends. I knew you would come here, Edward. Whitebeard, huh? Whitebeard turned his head and saw a smaller old man walking towards him. Whitebeard. Sorihiko, good to see you, old friend. Gran Torino. It really has been a while. Torino sat down beside Whitebeard while he opened the bottle of sake. Whitebeard then got out 4 sake cups. He gave one to Gran Torino, and the other 2 he put in front of the graves before he started to pour sake into the cups. He then put the bottle down before he lifted his cup, while Torino also lifted his cup. Whitebeard. To the old days. Gran Torino. To the old era. Clang. They then drank their sake before they sat there in silence. Gran Torino. How is Izuku doing? Whitebeard. He is doing great. He seems to have fun being a teacher. Gran Torino. As much as Izumi told me, he has a lot of fun training them till they collapse. Whitebeard. Gururara, that sounds like him. Gran Torino. And how are you doing? Whitebeard. Well, the age is slowly getting to me. I am not as strong as I once was, and my work is getting tiring. Gran Torino. Will you retire? Whitebeard. Maybe when I find someone who can replace me as captain. Gran Torino. What is with Marco? Whitebeard. He isn't interested, and Ace would never accept just a position. Gran Torino. And the other commanders? Whitebeard. Don't want me to retire. Don't care, or just don't want to. Gran Torino. And Izuku. Whitebeard. I thought about making him the new captain, but I don't know if he wants or if he will even accept. Gran Torino. Well, I say you find a successor. Soon it's only a matter of time until someone who is stronger than you comes. Whitebeard. You are right, and the fact that Big Mom works together with All for One isn't much better. Gran Torino. So we should have killed him as we had the chance. Whitebeard. That is easy to say. I was far stronger than him, and I wasn't able to kill him. Gran Torino. It's like as if All for One refuses to die, as long as it isn't through one for all. Whitebeard, yeah. Whitebeard put the empty cup down before standing up. Gran Torino got up as well as Whitebeard took the 2 full cups and walked up to the graves before pouring the sake over the 2 graves. He then put the cups on the graves before he took a step back and stood beside Gran Torino. Gran Torino, how long do you think until we join them? Whitebeard, 2, maybe 5 years, or maybe sooner. Who knows, our lives are dangerous, Sorahiko. Whitebeard put the sake bottle between the 2 graves before he, with a last glance at the graves, turned around, followed by Gran Torino. Whitebeard, hey, how about you come to the Moby Dick for dinner? I am sure Izuku and Thatch would be happy to see you. Gran Torino, why not? I have nothing else to do. Would be nice to see those 2 brats again. Whitebeard, Gurura, Gran Torino. Meanwhile with Shinso, Ida. Shinso, you need to aim higher with your kicks there to low. Shinso, what do you mean higher like this? Shinso made another kick to the punching bag. Ida, yes, that was good. Now you need to do it faster. Shinso, what do you mean faster? Ida, your kicks are quite slow compared to me or Kazan-sensei. Couldn't you maybe combine it with Soro? Shinso, wait, I read something about this. Shinso walked over to his bag and pulled out an old book. Ida, what is this for a book? Shinso, this book is about the 6 powers. Kazan gave it to me. Ida looked with interest at the book as Shinso flipped through the pages until he stopped on one page. Shinso, here. Ida, Shinso. Rankyaku, also known as Tempest Kick. This power specifically exists for making kicks a dangerous weapon against anyone. Using their legs, a user of Rankyaku can generate a flying slash-like projectile that can slice apart anything in its way. Ida, my Dariki would go up to 90 if I learned this power. Shinso, yeah, my Dariki would be above 100, but here stays that Rankyaku is one of the hardest powers to learn besides Jeppo. Ida, that means if we are able to learn Rankyaku, then we also have a chance to learn the other powers easier. Shinso, probably, so how about it up for the challenge, Ida? Ida, of course, let's get stronger together. Shinso, YOSH.
Thank you so much for joining me on this incredible journey today. I hope you enjoyed exploring the fascinating what-if scenario of Deku. If you found this video entertaining and thought-provoking, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe to our channel. Your support means the world to me and inspires me to bring you more captivating content in the future. Stay tuned for more exciting what-ifs coming your way. Until next time, take care, stay curious, and keep embracing the power of imagination. Goodbye everyone.